Sister, how you doing today?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning to
My
the
sister,
chat.
good to see you.
Yes. You're right. Minister Denzel gets a lot of love on this show and on the other show.
Oh yeah, he
Wow,
gets
thank
lots
you.
of love. Even when you're
Wow, I
not here, when
appreciate
you're
that.
not in the building, Minister Denzel,
Wow,
people are still talking about you, man. I'm telling
that is a
you.
blessing. Wow, that's
You got
amazing.
fans out here in these streets. I'm trying to tell you, Minister Denzel.
Absolutely amazing. I appreciate it. That's amazing. I'm humbled.
I can dig it. Shout out to AT. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I feel bad going after Minister Danzel. I just have a sweatshirt on
no.
today. It's rough times up here in Montana, but I'm gonna do my best
Stop
to watch my self-esteem up here as we have this conversation. Congratulations to your Falcons from last night, Brother Wise.
Hey, I thought we were gonna find a way to lose because we've been doing that all year long. Some kind of way. Hey, the Bucks, they just wanted it a little less than us.
Yeah.
I can't really call it a victory. We'll take the dubs. I mean, I think it is hard to win in the NFL, but
Yeah.
I just think that the Buccaneers, man, they gave the game away last night, man. They gave it away.
It was a good play. It was a good game, though. I thought at the last second that y'all weren't going to be able to get, and I was going to be able to talk a little bit of smack this morning, but
it wouldn't hurt my feelings, man. I've been watching these guys all year long, and all season long, we have found a multitude of ways to lose.
Yeah.
You know, some of those teams, the good team, they just find ways to win. Nah, not these guys, man. Not these guys.
Preaching to the choir. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm with you.
What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning, sister? Look at you. You're muted.
Good morning, everyone.
Come on now.
I was talking
Come on
about
now.
people over there. I was
You
talking
got
about
your hair.
people
You got
over
your hair laid onto the side. You know what I'm saying? But you come in here with the mute button on. Come on now.
there. Well,
Tighten up.
first of all,
Tighten
I'm
up.
sorry. Chat. Did I win the wager? We didn't actually literally bet, but I told everybody watch tomorrow morning for Wise. If the Falcons win, he'll be wearing that Falcons hat. If he loses, we all agreed you'd be wearing your Ravens hat. So I guess we already know who won because you're repping big and proud right now this morning.
Hey, I got to represent, man. We only got 5 wins this year. So, you know, when we get a W, we got to represent, okay?
Chris, he laid that hat out the night before. You know, it was on his pillow. He was so excited.
It was sitting right here. It was on my desk. I put it out last night. I was like, I'm making sure I'm putting this hat on today.
Listen, we called it last night. Go back and check it. You will see it. And everybody writes in the chat. By the way, Crystal, they won by 1 or 2 points. Boom. He's gonna be wearing that hat. There you go.
A win's a win, huh?
Yep. What up, Jay Witt? It's good to see you this morning.
In the building.
Skipped out on
us
this week. It's all good though. We're not gonna hold that against you.
Jay.
Wait, what is it? What is it?
You skipped out on us last week. We're not gonna hold that
man,
against
come
you,
on, brother. Come on, man. I'm over here trying to do father duty, man. Trying to be dad of the year. What's going on with y'all?
We missed you.
We missed you, Jay.
Yes, we did.
Well, I appreciate it. I feel the love. I feel the love. Well, you know what, Aaron? Don't worry about it, bro. It's always hoodie season over here. I don't even care. We always rocking hoodies. Don't worry about it.
I'm talking about it's
got the new merch store up. Don't worry about it. Get your Jay Witt hoodie soon. Come on.
It's definitely hoodie season. Definitely hoodie season. When the Jay Witts are available, I'll make sure I'll cop me one. I'll represent for you.
I got you right now, bro. I'll drop the link right now for you.
Yeah, drop that link. Drop the link. And appreciate you, brother, coming through with the 10
for sure.
ARP family memberships. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, supporting what we're doing over here. You know, this small channel we're trying to grow, man. You know, it's an uphill battle for sure. For sure.
I love it.
All right.
Love it.
I want to get the show started here. We're probably going to spend a good amount of time here because I have a multitude of clips I want to play for you guys. And I think I want to start with, we'll start with Mr. Denzel to help get things kicked off. But I don't know if you guys have heard, but Sharon Moore, University of Michigan coach, or I guess we can say former University of Michigan coach, has officially been fired. And he was arrested, unfortunately. But it was after he was fired. So it wasn't something that he did on campus. It was just after the fact he kind of lost it. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. I want to play a couple clips for you guys. And then we'll get into it. Minister Denzel, we'll start with you. I'm gonna play 2 clips, and then Minister Denzel, we'll start with you. And then I have another clip I want to play, and we'll get one of the ladies in on the conversation as well. And then there's a few others that I want to get into as well. Because there's a multitude of angles, here. With this particular subject here. So let's get into it. Hit the like button for me if you haven't done so already. Super chat, super thanks are greatly appreciated. Join the ARP family, buy your brother a coffee, Cash App, all that good stuff. appreciate you guys supporting what we're doing over here. Thank you guys very much. Let's get started.
We got the most breaking news in all of sports. Michigan fired head football coach Sharon Moore. This Sharon Moore.
Oh, that Coach Harbaugh. Fucking love you, man. Love the shit out of you, man. This is for you. For this university.
So Sharon Moore took over for Jim Harbaugh in the 2023 season for a couple games. Michigan goes on to win the national championship, and Sharon Moore becomes the head coach. Sharon Moore has a wife and 3 young daughters. Well, I think he still has a wife. He allegedly cheated on his wife with the Michigan staff for a paid shiver. I'm not exactly sure, but the allegations are wild. She was promoted to executive assistant after that 2023 season, executive assistant to the head coach. But just read some of these accusations, people. Sources believe the affair ultimately resulted in a pregnancy by which he paid for an abortion. Sharon Moore took over for Jim Harbaugh, and what people don't realize, when Harbaugh went to the NFL, he put in his contract that Sharon Moore had to become the next head coach, of which he was. Until, well, this happened. Bad situation for everybody. Yikes.
Like, you can't be that damn stupid, man. Like, I don't feel sorry for him. You a dummy. You got a wife and you got kids, and you care about messing with somebody else over your family. How dumb can you be? And then you get caught and you want people to show empathy towards what you got going on. Don't do what you did. Get her pregnant, have an abortion. I'm a double her salary. Like I don't have sympathy for dumb shit. Like, you're an adult and this is what you chose to do. You're not sorry about what happened. You sorry you got caught. And then now you want to garner sympathy. Oh, I'm going to do this to you and I'm going to do this to myself. No, you not.
And Mr. Danzo, I'll give you the first word. You can go with this wherever you'd like to go. What are your thoughts on what you've heard thus far?
Well, this is just one of many examples of why it's so important for us to be people of integrity. Integrity is outdated these days. You can do whatever you want to do and still be famous and popular. But this is the old adage that be sure your sins will find you out. You can't do dirt and expect it not to affect you later on. So I think that it's very important for us to check out. I think our institutions should have a very good, very strong policy about who they hire for jobs. And I think that we should be aware that people are always checking us out no matter where we are. And what we're doing is going to come out eventually. So to have a blessing like that, to be put in a position where you have accomplished something, and then to let your flesh take over and get you to do stupid things to destroy your life, and then expect people to have sympathy on you, which is another thing we have going on in our society, that when people screw up royally like this, everybody expects them to be given sympathy and empathy. There's some things you need to be just told off on. There are some things you need to be just sat down on, and you need to just revamp your life. This is one of those examples. I think it's unfortunate because many Black young kids who are looking up to coaches like this are now infected by this craziness. So yes, I think that he deserves whatever he gets. Unfortunately, I think that we, of course, as Christians, have to pray for the brother and pray that he recuperates. But never expect your wrong to be ignored, and that there are no consequences for what you do that's wrong.
Absolutely. Jaywood, I want to give you the next word, and then I want to play a clip right after.
I appreciate it, man. Proverbs 5, 6, and 7 are the best admonishments against sexual infidelity, adultery, and the such like that. And I'm only going to read Proverbs 5, 8 through 14. And it says, now my son, 7 through 14. Now, sons, listen to me and do not depart from my words. Keep your way from her and do not go near the door of her house. Listen to what he says right here. Lest you give your honor to others and your years to the merciless, lest strangers take their fill of your strength and your labors go to the house of a foreigner. And at the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and your body are consumed. And you will say, how I hated discipline, and my heart despised reproof. I did not listen to the words of my teachers, and I did not incline my ears to my instructors. I am brought to the brink of utter ruin in the entire assembly. That's it. I hate the way the gentleman said it. sitting in the chair talking about him with the profanity and stuff like that. But at this stage of the game, it's going to have to come to that. It's going to have to come to some knuckles upside the head, because that was just dumb. There's no empathy. There's none whatsoever. You had a whole wife.
Right.
You know, you got 3 daughters. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. I can't think of one. I'm not going to give you one. Proverbs 5, 6, and 7. That's it.
That's right. Amen.
Man, AT, you want to get in there real quick?
Yeah, I was going to go to Proverbs. I'm happy that Jay Wood did. God bless you for that. Money corrupts and power absolutely corrupts. Abraham Lincoln, I think he was the one that said, nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power, give him money. And I saw this firsthand when I left the military, worked in Wall Street with BlackRock. You may want the money, you may want the power, but I realize less and less men these days are capable of actually having those things. And it's unfortunate because we've forgotten the way of marriage. We've forgotten the way of partnership. This man, I think that picture the first time with the wife and the baby in his hands was his family. He had this beautiful family. He had this tremendous opportunity that the majority of people who go into this field will never get a chance to do. At Michigan, nonetheless, go blue, great team, great school. And it makes you wonder, how far are we going to fall in society where you can have it all? You can have the fame, you can have the prestige, and for some reason, it's still not enough. And I've never been surprised when I talk to young Christian, especially women, who are like, I'm scared. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this man. And even if I do, I don't know what's really going on behind closed doors. I don't know what's going on in his mind. And I always point back to the institution of marriage, the nuclear family in this country. It's one of the biggest issues we have. And we're starting to slowly see the repercussions of having men who chase after their own fantasies and their own fleshly desires. And this is a prime example of it. Do I feel bad for this gentleman? Only because sin is going to wrap through his life. That's really it. We have consequences. We have to face them. He's going to have to face that music.
If Watts, can I add Proverbs 22, verse 1, 2? A good name is rather be chosen than silver and gold, and a loving favor than silver and gold, and a good name is rather be chosen than riches. So that is a lot that the Bible says about what you need to be striving for as an individual to make sure you maintain. You can't just be good today and then bad tomorrow. You need to maintain that good name.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to, excuse me, I want to play this next clip. Celeste, I want to get you in on the conversation as well. And Crystal, I want to get you in there, and then we'll kind of go around, because I have 2 more, because there's another direction that this conversation is going to take as well. But let me play this first.
A marriage, a home. She's half of this scandal. She knew the rules too. She broke the rules also, not just him. I imagine she's going to be terminated too, right? Don't they have to?
I don't know when somebody is, you're subordinate or whatever. Like, I don't know how that plays out. Like, couldn't you just say that she was, in fear for her job or career?
But if the rule is that there's no inner office philandering, regardless of the position, then she broke that rule also, didn't she?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're going to be fair about this, she is half of the problem in this equation.
And this was all the weird thing about this is that this was on Twitter like a week and a half ago. There are random people. One of them was a former Michigan quarterback. The other people were just alumni, boosters that were tweeting Michigan all of these things about, hey, this guy cheated on his wife. He forced her to have an abortion. You need to fire this guy. And then a week and a half later, boom, it actually happened. So I would imagine that she had told a lot of people what was happening around that area. Obviously, one of the two had to tell somebody first for it to start snowballing like that.
How long do you think it was going on for? You think this was long?
At least a year, because I think he promoted her from like some sort of recruiting coordinator to his executive assistant. That's how she went from $53,000 a year to $90,000 a year, because she was his executive assistant as of like 2024.
Yeah.
So this was probably going on for almost a full year.
Celeste, I'll give you the next word. You can go with this wherever you want to go, but I do have a question for you. I understand the smoke that the coach is receiving, and he's getting everything that he deserves. But when these types of situations happen, this young lady, she knew that he was married. She knew that he had children. She is not just some innocent student. She's a professional. They were paying her upwards of almost $100,000 with the raise. But even before that, she was still making the average wage. So this is a professional young person. Nonetheless, but still a professional. You're being paid. I don't think we can say that she was being quote unquote manipulated by the wealthy, powerful coach. I think she played a role in this. What are your thoughts?
Well, this reminds me of the prophetic words of the rapper Rick Ross. Rick Ross was on the Breakfast Club and he was asked, why doesn't he have any women on his label? And everybody dogged Rick Ross and tore him apart. But he said, if I'm investing in you, I'm paying for your marketing, I'm producing your records, I'm soliciting your beats. He said, I'm investing in you and I'm putting my time, my money, and my energy and my gift into your success. He said, there's no way I can invest like that into a woman and not, he used a word I'm not going to say, but not want to sleep with her. He said it a little more crass. And I think when we go into the domain of men, we have to understand. In fact, there was a comedian once said that men are only as faithful as their options. And we have a culture that says successful men can exercise those options. And men who are friends with successful men don't dispute that. They don't tell men not to do that. They don't ridicule men in the society, in the domain of men who are promiscuous, who have multiple women. Those men are uplifted. That's considered okay. That is perfectly fine behavior. And women are woeful in their dating, and when it's time for them to choose a man, it never occurs to them to think, what kind of confidence could you have in your husband if you have never asked him to be abstinent in the dating and courtship with you, and you've never watched him exercise any sexual discipline? If you didn't watch him exercise that before he was in a relationship with you, how could you be confident that he can exercise it after he's in a relationship with you? Specifically, when you know that there is nobody in his circle, in the entire domain of men, who's going to encourage that in him. So he has no encouragement from the people where he gets his wisdom, which is the domain of men. Men care about what other men say. They listen to other men. They take advice and guidance from other men, not from women. And nowhere in that circle is anybody telling a man, hey, you're out of pocket, you're out of sorts, you need to show some sexual discipline. So he's not getting it there, particularly if he's not a religious man, which means he's submitting to something higher than himself and has to be accountable to something higher than himself. He won't get it there. So you asking these people with no accountability and a whole bunch of money to run out and exercise a discipline that they have never practiced. I think that this is a wonderful, point for why, particularly before marriage, that courtship should have abstinence should be a part, a focal point of that courtship, to give the woman confidence in her intended husband, and to give the man confidence in himself. Most men don't have practice learning how to say no. They have practice learning how to hear no. Yes, you've heard women tell you no, but you don't have a lot of practice when a woman says yes, and then it's your turn to say no. They can count on one hand how many times they ever went, yeah, nah, I can't do that. They can recount the story because it's only one or two stories in which that has happened. So it's a terrible setup. We are not preparing people for what marriage really requires, what it takes to keep it holy and safe and intact. We do not prepare people, and we've created a culture that's completely antithetical to it. But I'm going to be quick. As for the woman, she was not in a covenant relationship with him. And if the organization has rules on fraternization, then she should suffer any consequences that were identified in the contract which she breached. But broader than that, and to make it full circle, back to the Rick Ross point, at some point, we are going to have enough courage to really discuss what happens when women enter the workforce. When women are in traditionally male spaces, it upends the rules that were previously there. There's a whole new set of protocols that have to be in place for women to be in and comfortably exist in that workspace. The problem is nobody knows exactly what the rules are. And the rules seem to change from workspace to workspace and from individual to individual woman. So nobody can get a handle on it. So everybody is at risk of being in some kind of violation, because we're not talking about the heavy price that comes when you put women in traditionally male and just workspaces in general. And I'm not saying women shouldn't work. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's not the same thing as saying, oh, go send Joe and John into on floor, B to sit in cube 2, and to send Sue and Sarah onto floor B to sit in cube 2. There's going to be a completely different dynamic that has to happen for the sexes to coexist. And nobody seems to be courageous enough, because they're so afraid that there'll be some demands made on women, or that some negative, that women in the workspace also, while I'm sure they bring lots of value and positivity, there's also a lot of negativity that comes with that as well. And nobody wants to look women in the face and say that.
Crystal, I'll give you the next word on this.
Okay, I'm sorry, I had to fix somebody in the comments, but
get them together.
People be trying my patience sometimes. Number one, this is what people have to remember. When we go to Numbers 32:23, it says, "Be sure your sin will find you out." In Luke 12:2-3, it says, "There's nothing concealed that will not be disclosed or hidden, that will not be made known." And people seem to think that they can, and this is specifically for this coach, or for Christians in itself, because he put Christ follower of Christ, and all of that in his bio. He wanted people to know that he was a Christian. I want people to understand, judgment starts in the body first. So if you're out here supposed to be repping Christ, but your lifestyle is antithetical to Christ, the Lord will give you warnings. And I'm sure the Lord gave him enough warnings, but he decided that he would not bend his knee to his heavenly Father that he claimed, because pride became too much for him. This is why we must be humble, always remain humble. When we look at Proverbs 16:18, it says, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." And please believe this man has fallen. He has fallen. The man went from being this amazing Michigan coach, his face everywhere, all the things, to now losing his job and getting arrested. Like, boom and boom. And the thing is, when we listen to the story, he had the affair, she got pregnant, he paid for a termination of pregnancy and the whole 9 yards. I want people to also notice, sin is a gateway. So you start with one, and then you start moving. You got to keep covering each sin with another sin, with another sin, with another. You just got to keep doing it unless you fully repent. So I want people to understand, this man, his witness was just ruined, but it can be redeemed by repenting and leaning into Christ and humbling himself. He has to humble himself. Now to this Jezebel. I want you to understand, this Jezebel is truly, y'all always hear me call certain people gutter bunnies. Gutter bunnies has no race at all. This is what you call a gutter bunny as well, okay? Because I know this woman knew this man had a wife. I mean, it's not hidden. She knows.
Public knowledge. I mean, it's public knowledge for sure.
But she decided to put her little pretty self around this man, and I'm sure she was doing her extra flirting in the whole 9 yards, because again, it felt good. But they like to put the headline out, the young staffer, to make her seem innocent, and it was just a young staffer that they made him sound like the big bad wolf, and she was just the innocent little Red Riding Hood just minding her business, and he came along. No, this is what you call a Jezebel. This is what you call a gutter bunny. And she found herself in the midst of it. And she should be removed, because if the rules say that there is not supposed to be fraternization, guess what? He lost his job. she should lose her job, and she should be tainted just as he is, because it takes two hands to clap. He didn't do this by himself. And clearly she was complicit, because the girl took her raise, she took her money, I'm sure she went and got her termination. She did all that she needs. So she's not a little innocent something in this. She is what we call a Jezebel, or in Crystal's terms, a gutter bunny. And listen, the gutter bunny can be redeemed too, okay? But the gutter bunny better humble herself and seek God's face. That is how I feel about this. So I hope y'all picked up what I put down. Thank you.
I want to push back slightly on Celeste in her point that men don't hold each other accountable, in the sense of, if one of my friends were out there that's married, and one of my friends are out there acting like he wants to holler at other women while we're together, I'm gonna pull him I'm gonna be like, bro, what are you doing? And not on my watch, because the last thing I want, all my friends, I know their significant others, I know their wives, I know their girlfriends. The last thing I want is a phone call coming to me saying, hey, you were with this guy when this happened. I don't want to be complicit in that. So, and at the same time, my friends, they have stuff to lose. They own homes. They have children. They got things to lose. So a good friend is going to tell their friend, like, hey, bro, you are moving entirely too reckless. Are you really trying to lose everything? Now, at the same time, you're a grown man. I'm not going to get in the way of whatever it is that you want to do, but I am going to call you out on it. I'm going to pull you up. Now, I ain't going to put your business out on social media. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to pull your coat, man, and be like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you trying to lose all of this? Like, what are you doing? So I think men are in the business of holding each other accountable if they are a real friend. Now, there were some people in the comment section that wanted to know why he got arrested. He got arrested after he was let go. So he was already released from his position at Michigan. The reason why he was arrested, well, he pretty much imploded. He went home, and obviously dealing with the situation with his wife. He basically threatened to unalive himself, went to the girlfriend's house, or whatever he's calling her, went there and did something very similar. So the arrest, I don't think he actually got a charge. I think the arrest was to save him. He was almost on a unaliving watch, or self-unaliving watch, something along those lines. And that's why they held him, just because, I think they thought that he might actually harm himself. And that's why he was arrested. I hadn't heard anything about charges. But I think that this dude allowed this to go on. He went with this for a year, and he thought that he could get away with it. And he may have gotten away with it had they won that game last week. They lost to Ohio State. Word on the street is that the administration knew about this, for at least 3 or 4 months. This situation had been going on for a year, and it sounds like they were going to let this thing slide had Michigan beat Ohio State, which just goes to show you where we are, in sports right now. That winning takes precedence over everything, even, morality. But I want to play this next clip here because I want you guys to hear from Ryan Clark. He took the conversation a different direction, and I'm sure y'all know the direction that he took it. But I want you guys to listen to Ryan Clark, because if you guys know anything about Ryan Clark, I think you guys already know where he's going with this. But play this for you guys. Give me a second.
I think from the Sharon Moore point of view, you have to look at his failures as well. He failed, if these things are true, he failed his family. Yep. He failed the young men he was in charge of leading and coaching. And he also failed a community of coaches who would love to follow him to get an opportunity to coach at a historically great university like a Michigan, to be amongst the names of the Yost and the Schembechlers and the Lloyd Carrs. That was the opportunity that he had that he failed at. And we also have to think about this young lady who was a subordinate and what these accusations or what these actions will do to her for the rest of her life. And so now if you're Sharon Moore, who was the first African-American head coach at the University of Michigan, there's also a community of coaches that would love to follow in your footsteps that will be partly judged because of your actions. He does have to own that. He does have to, at some point, acknowledge that. He has to be held accountable for that, whether these things are true and someone was after him or not. And so if you're Michigan, you're truly coming from 2 head coaches in a row, in Jim Harbaugh and also Sharon Moore, that has let the university down in some way. It is not the level of excellence that we expect from that position that has a responsibility. In Romans 3:23, right, it says, all have fallen short because of sin and fallen short of the glory of God. So Sharon Moore will be and will have an opportunity to be given grace by his family, by Christ, but he won't get a Bobby Petrino rebound, right? He will be treated like Mel Tucker. He will be treated like Michael Haywood, who in 2010 was supposed to be the next head coach of the University of Pittsburgh. So I just don't think we could skip over how serious this situation is for Sharon Moore and the decision-making, this situation he put himself in. And so going forward, you can't just bring in a coach that's great at X's and O's. You need to bring in a leader of men. You need to bring in a man that these young men can look at and model certain aspects of their life afterwards. And I don't know who that is. Is it a Jed Fish from the University of...
All right, AT, I want to give you the first word on this.
I'll tell you the truth, Wise. I'm still over here slightly upset that I didn't know anything about this gentleman. I don't get into people's personal lives. I don't follow celebrities. I didn't know he was Christian. That part is highly disappointing because we take this and it's now Christianity has become cultural, right? Buzzwords, pop words, say the nice thing, right? Praise Jesus, everything's great. But when it comes time to actually walk that walk, we just don't see it. And it's really unfortunate. I'm not surprised Ryan Clark went that direction. There's a lot of truth behind what he's saying. Having opportunities for a lot of black coaches in both the NFL and the NCAA has been a point of contention, especially on that show he was on, First Take, for years now. Stephen A. always found a way to go directly to that direction every time something came up. And there is a lot of truth to it. I'm not going to just do for black coaches. I'll do for Christian coaches. I'll do for individuals that have a similar background to him. It does harm future prospects because people have bias. Whether that bias is true or not, that's something that we oftentimes talk about. A lot of times it's not grounded in reality. But anytime someone, I don't care what your skin color is, anytime someone comes up there, whoever you represent, whether it's black, white, male, female, American, or otherwise, you are speaking for those who follow you. And it's the same thing when it comes to Christianity. Ryan Clark threw a verse out there. I'm happy he has it memorized and ready to go, lock, cock, smoking barrels. But are we aware that the second that you say, like Crystal said, you post something on your social media, God is good, the second that you do it, people are going to be waiting for you to trip up. They're going to be waiting for any opportunity to say, you know what, I'm not going to be in line with Christ because look at the kind of individuals that it detracts. And I'm very disappointed in this overall. My mom went to Michigan. It's something that kind of runs in the family for a little bit. And this gentleman right here, he had such tremendous prospects and opportunities. And so did the young lady too. Let's talk about her too. She had a career in front of her. She had opportunities. Obviously, she was talented in one way, shape, or form or another, joke intended. But now we're in this situation where once again talking about wrong. And I have to co-sign with what you said, Wise. I do agree, Celeste. I would probably argue most men. We're still at that point where most men are being pulled away by these sexual thrills that exist in the world. But not all men, because I have someone I know. I hope I never meet their husband or their significant other who's sleeping with a married woman. There's some things that we have to have more wises in the world. We have to have more individuals who are ready to say, hey, man, what you're doing is wrong, is necessary. I will not associate with you. And again, I'm not going to get into your personal life and cause drama. I don't do that. I don't have time for that. But you know what we're not going to do is we're not going to continue to have conversations over a cup of coffee and a football game as if nothing's wrong. We have got to really start having some hard conversations in this country. We got to figure out why is it that you can give a man money, $30 million. You can give a man a family. You can give a man a nice child with that family. He had a house, he had a career, he had prestigiousness, he had title. And yet for some reason, it just still wasn't enough. And we see this every single place that we go. And I don't know the young lady. I'd love to get into the conversation of right or wrong, the policy. I don't know Michigan's policies. I've seen on one hand women who are in that situation where they feel trapped. It happened at I want to say Blizzard, that gaming company, where it was, hey, if you don't do this, you'll lose your job and never work in the industry again. Hey, we have these policies, but if you use them, those individuals are in partnership with the managers regardless, and so you'll wind up losing your job and be asked to go. I don't know that. I'm not giving her that excuse either, because at some point you have to be willing to stand up for righteousness regardless of what may happen to you, as opposed to walking into sin. But I agree with Ryan Clark to a lot of ways. I don't usually get into the whole racial politics of it all. I think that you should be judged by the content of your character. I don't know where I get that from. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all whatsoever. This is something that, whether we agree with it or not, is going to have repercussions for other individuals besides just himself.
That's right.
And I want to get you in there, Denzel. I don't know if this will have the type of ramifications that Ryan Clark mentions. I really don't know. In 2025, if this was to happen maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I would say maybe. But there is documented history of this happening with a multitude of other coaches. I mean, Bobby Petrino, mean, goodness gracious. I mean, he got caught with a young co-ed. We heard about Ed Ogeron. We heard about Les Miles, Rick Pitino. The list goes on of coaches that have done this. And then you can look at it. I mean, we just saw the CEO, what did he just fumble? $1 billion opportunity getting caught with his assistant. What was that? Maybe 3 or 4 months ago?
Yeah.
So I don't think that this is going to make organizations leery of hiring other Black men for opportunities. I personally don't think so in this day and age. Maybe 20 or 30 years ago, I just think, man, there's so many examples out there of men of all the ethnicities that get a little bit of status and some power, and they fall a victim. My concern is that my concern and my question to men out there is, how many more of you guys got to go through this before y'all learn that, we probably shouldn't be moving in this manner, especially with people that you work with. In the military, that was something that was like ingrained in us in the military, that you do not fraternize, with, younger or junior personnel. And you really didn't want to, they really didn't even want you fraternizing with people that was the same rank as you, because it causes problems in the workplace. It always does. Even if y'all are the same rank, AT, you know this.
I do.
Even if y'all the same rank, same status at the company, or, in the military, y'all get into it and then it doesn't work out. Now it's drama. And now people got to choose sides, or we're going to have to fire and cut people or try to move departments depending on where you're working at. It's a mess. Men, and honestly, I think just grown people in general, men and women, stop messing with people that you work with. Seriously. Don't stop it. Stop it. And especially if you are married. If you are married, stop messing with people that aren't your wife or your husband. Stop it. Stop it.
Wise. Let me respond to that if you don't mind. Because stop dipping your pen in the company ink. That was the expression that we had. It is never worth it. To that point, I'm not proud of this, but we can all learn from somebody's past life. I dated a young lady. We went to Afghanistan. We both were pilots, and then it didn't work out, because it never does when you're deployed. And yet we still had to work together. Do you know how awkward it was to be in Afghanistan with a co-pilot that you used to have relations with, flying through the country, and it's the combat zone? I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I agree too. You're right. There's a lot of, if it was 20 years ago, goodness, this would be, there'd probably be a march somewhere. Let's be completely honest. I just don't like, that's why my issue with Ryan Clark, I get that he brings it up. I wish he would stop talking about it in that way. Wrong is wrong. That's it. Your wrong does not mean that someone else is going to commit that wrong. And so I will acquiesce on that one. Hopefully we've learned at least a little bit in society, but it's the professionalism aspect. You're absolutely right. In the military, there were such severe consequences. The way that you would be treated, the way people would look at you, you were all one family. I just wonder why that did not bleed through in this situation. I'll tell you right now, Wise, I give you $30 million. You right now wouldn't cheat on your wife. I bet you wouldn't do it then and lose that opportunity. Absolutely not. Go ahead.
Hey, listen, my point was, I thank you for bringing up the point that, there's some good brothers that will definitely step to a brother when they see them acting out of order like that, because it does reflect on them. And I've been like that myself. Listen, I worked 30 years in a college, and as an administrator, as an administrator, and I've seen all kind of crazy stuff. Married man.
Sure you have.
And I've seen some good looking women. I mean, some good looking women. I'm gonna say that again. I've seen some good looking women, and we had to work together. But one thing I made up my mind I was going to do is I was going to do what God's word said do. I was going to be the man that God called me to be. I made the decision. It's a personal decision. Joshua 24:15 says, choose you this day who you're going to serve. I knew that when I went in, and I walked with integrity for 30 years. None of those sisters can spot my life. You ain't going to get no call saying that, yeah, man, Minister Monkey did this and that back then. You won't get that from me. I'm still in contact with some of those sisters today, and they still respect me. It's a decision. You can decide not to flaunt yourself. You can decide not to fall for the Jezebels. But it's a decision. Once you've made the decision to do it, you can't blame nobody but yourself. And that's what we have to understand. There are consequences to our actions. I knew that going in. I made up my mind. I was not going to let the sister that stepped to me with her tight-fitting clothes and trying to push up on me. I had to make sure I put them in their place right then and there. I wasn't going to try to see how well I can do or how much I can resist. I made it clear, don't try it. That's a decision. And when you're around co-workers, you have to let them know where you're coming from the jump. You don't be vacillating. And today you hard and tomorrow you're gonna be soft. You don't do the hugging and the touching and all that stuff. You set a standard and stick to it.
And boundaries.
You'll never lose.
Absolutely. Minister Denzel, you're absolutely right. As a man who is a provider, and who has been that and pretty much the primary provider for our household for a long time, with that comes responsibility. I also understood when I go to work, the happy hour, no, I'm not going with y'all. There were certain things I'm just not going to do. I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not getting caught up in y'all foolishness, because I have a responsibility to provide for my family. My wife and my kids, they need this check that I, you know, go put these 40, 50 hours a week in for. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not about to allow anybody to catch me up. Now, if I had a $30 million job, goodness gracious, there is absolutely no way. There's absolutely no way I'm doing this. But that just goes to show you, man, sometimes, you know, man, we just don't be thinking properly, man. And when you're not thinking, you know, with the head on your shoulders, man, the head below your waist will get you in entirely too much trouble, man.
Oh, yes.
Guys got to wake up, man. Dude had 30 million reasons. You got a wife and a multitude of kids. You embarrassed your wife. Well, you embarrassed your family. You embarrassed yourself for sure, but you embarrassed your wife, your children. You embarrassed the university. I don't know if he can really come back from this. But then again, you know, there is some grace out there. He may have to go down, you know, lower levels and coach for a little bit and build his reputation back up. That is a possibility. But he fumbled a big time job. I mean, we're talking about an hour 4 job. People are willing to give arm and limb for these opportunities. $5.5 million a year, $30 million guaranteed. Come on, bruh.
But
What are you thinking, man?
I could say this. What I will say is I agree with everything that you said, but I will also push back a little bit and say that, because Ryan Clark used scripture, and I just want people to understand. Listen, sometimes the Lord will humble you, because He will bring you to your knees because you decided you got a little shine, so you decide you about to act up, and He will bring you right back down to your knees and humble you. And then after you are humbled and you have truly given yourself back the way you're supposed to be, He will raise you right back up because you've learned your lesson. So I know it's hard. I know it's a lot of us will say, he'll never have this again, but he might have more if he humbles himself.
That's
if
right.
he surrenders, repents, and humble himself. I have seen God turn people's lives completely after what they did, after they were brought down. He raised them right back up. So he has a chance, but he better do it the right way. Thank you. Somebody in my comments said, just like David, he will humble you and bring you right back up. But you really gotta humble yourself and repent. And you know, I'm not saying he's hearing our show, but I'm just saying if he's hearing the show, take that mindset of potentially not wanting to be here anymore. Because if they have him on that kind of watch, that is not worth it, because it is dark today. You're at the bottom. When you hit rock bottom, the best thing to do is to look up. God is waiting for you when you look up. So look up. Stop thinking the world is over and you cannot go on any further. You can go on further with Christ. That's the only way you can go on further, not the way he was going.
And to Celeste's point, there's a lot of them brothers that's still doing that. They're out there. They are actually, she's absolutely right, man. It's rampant in those environments. But every good brother, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I was in there, I saw a lot of this stuff going on, but they never did it around me because they knew I wasn't gonna stand for it, and they respect me for that. And I was able to help young brothers that I'm still in contact with today to help them live a godly life and to stay cool. They still call me today. So I thank you for the conversation. The both sides are very true. And I thank God for Brother Wise bringing this subject up, because this definitely needs to be discussed in this day and time.
Celeste, you wanted to get in there?
Yeah, I wanted to say, and I am very appreciative of you and Minister Denzel, AT, Jay Witt. And I don't doubt that there are certainly more of you. I don't doubt that at all. This is not an attack on individual men and how individual men are living their life, but it is an attack on the culture of men.
Yes.
And the domain of men, because if a man feared that he would be rebuked, they wouldn't be afraid to say it. They wouldn't put it in their rap songs. They wouldn't walk around talking about, yeah, now I got this girl on the other side of town, because they're not concerned that there's any rebuke coming their way. It is okay in the domain of men to behave that way. And I also think it shows a lack of development, because what men need to understand about themselves is that men are exactly what is needed on earth, because men are not risk averse. Men are risk takers. That is part of your physiology, that is part of your nature and your design. But risk taking has to be mitigated by intelligence, discipline, and control, because your ability to take a risk is what built the earth. It is why we have all of the comforts and we can live in civilized world. It's because some man took a risk, and in many cases died so that we could have that. But the same ability is also, it's a two-edged sword. It is also what will create your destruction. You know, if you look at the profile of criminals and other type of distance, they have high levels of risk taking. Drug addicts are high level risk takers. That being a risk taker isn't always good. And this is somebody I suspect. I've never been a man who, you know, had an interest in a woman, but I suspect this is somebody who said, "I'll take the chance." And I took the chance in his life is probably what has brought him a ton of success. But this, I took the chance, is probably what is tearing his life down. Now, I'm not saying he can't be redeemed. I'm not a redeemer. I don't know the protocols on redemption. I'm begging for my own redemption. So I don't know how anybody else is getting it done. I'm trying to see if I can get some redemption. So I don't know about all that. I'm not saying it's not possible, but what I'm saying is men have got to be not just individual in their own personal life, have integrity, but make integrity a demand on other men and say, you're not going to be popular. We're not going to idolize you. You're not going to be looked up to and well thought of in our circles if that's how you behave.
I would agree with that. And I think that Sharon, in this case, there's not a lot of men bigging him up out there. There's a lot of men telling him, like, bro, you fumbled the bag and you fumbled a big one. And you're making us look bad. Seriously. You're making us look bad.
They're upset that he fumbled the bag, that he lost a prominent position, something they all covered and inspired to. There's not much talk about the actual behavior. It's not like you was wrong. If you worked at the corner store and did that, you should be as loathed as you are when you're the big time coach of a Big Ten school with a prestigious football team. They're mad that you fumbled the prestige, not that you blew your household up.
Or his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you go, Jay Wynn, I want to play this. I want to play Uncle Luke real quick. Jay Wynn, I'm gonna give you the next word. I want to play Uncle Luke real quick. I won't play the entire clip, but I want to play a little bit of this because he disagrees wholeheartedly with
Ryan Clark.
Ryan Clark. He disagrees. So I want to play this
disagree
for
with
you
that
guys.
brooch Ryan Clark had on too, but I digress.
Jay, I can't with you.
I've been wanting to say that, man. You messed me up. Okay, go ahead.
Damn, Lord have mercy.
Let me say this to Ryan Clark. You say a lot of dumb shit on TV.
Oh, shit.
You and a couple other people, when you get on, I just turn that motherfucker off. But this is by far one of the dumbest things that you've ever said. When you said that Coach Moore has set back African-American coaches and he's a disservice to African-American coaches. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm a coach and I deal with college coaches on a daily basis. It's not a day that go by I don't deal with black college coaches. White ones too. It's not a setback. And here's what was worse about it. ESPN should be suspending your ass for saying some dumb shit like this, because if you would have said the same thing that when Petrino did it, oh, white coaches are being set back hundreds of years because of Petrino. See, what you don't understand is you're feeding into the bullshit. You have just set black coaches back because you are giving these people what they want to not hire black coaches. You are flaming the fires. So when the brother goes in and get ready to become the offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, our head coach, they remember what you just said and they use that against these black coaches, bruh. You smarter than that. Unless you just working for them. You're setting black coaches back because you're giving them this bullshit ammunition.
All right, Jay Way, I'll give you the first word on this, or wherever you want to go with it.
So I think Coach Moore professed to be a Christian. Am I correct?
Yeah.
He made the profession. So all of the other accountabilities are secondary to the fact that he stood before God and made a vow to remain faithful to this woman. So it doesn't matter if his friends don't hold him accountable. It don't matter if he works in a place where the women walk around naked. He made the promise before God. That's it. And it doesn't really, all the other stuff doesn't matter. You made the promise before God. You got your round head up there and promised to God that you would choose this woman. Nobody made you do that. So therefore, you have to eat that. That's you. So fumbling the bag and all that other stuff, that's ancillary. That's secondary. Nobody cares. You lied to God, dude. Eat that. Live there. And that's it. There's really no other way around it. All the other stuff is just really secondary and tertiary discussions. I lie before God, and I'm in a whole heap of trouble. As Daniel said, I am of the most confused. My face belongs confusion because I've ruined myself before God. That's it. So the rest, let him have what he's going to do with the bag and his job. Bro, you deserve it. Now, maybe God will be gracious like he did Nebuchadnezzar when he ruined Nebuchadnezzar, made him eat grass for 7 years. He did restore him, and maybe he could restore you. But sir, there's going to be some grass chewing and some nails growing before you get to that place. Grace and peace.
Get in there, Minister Denzel.
Yeah, I have to say that I didn't make a comment on that comment about him putting black coaches back because I think that it's unfortunate that we're still thinking in terms of ethnicity and race rather than in human responsibility. I don't think that no black people are going to be put back. This is something that when a black person does, and I think that we have to stop letting people talk that way. So I do have to make that correction. I think that is unfortunate that we still see in color when someone does something wrong, a person does something wrong, a color doesn't do something wrong. And because a black person does something wrong doesn't mean all black people are wrong or going to be affected by it. Now, there is an aspect where people will use that to try to broad brush all ethnicities, but that's not our problem. That's their problem. We shouldn't let that be effective because it doesn't make any rational sense. It really doesn't at all. So we have to step to that. And I think the brother, he did a lot of cussing. He didn't have to cuss out like that, but he did make a good point that we have to stop letting these when a black person does something bad, everybody gets affected by it who's black, which is ridiculous. And we should let society put that on us.
But with that being said, and I'm with you 100%, Minister Denzel, and the language from Luke, not becoming. But what I will say is this. He is absolutely right. And it's not just in this situation. I think it's in a lot of situations. We got to stop with this mindset of, you got to work 10 times hard, as anybody else. You got to, oh man, this is going to set folks back. This and the third. Think about this. Ryan Clark Black. Could you imagine a Skip Bayless coming out there saying the same exact thing? This behavior is just set all black coaches back 50 years. Could you imagine him? Could you imagine the smoke that would come from him making that statement? Mm-hmm. We got to stop it, man. If we want to be looked at as Americans, if we want to be treated equally, we should also start with our own language as well. We should also start changing our language in the way we look and the way we speak on things as well. It's a bad look. And that's why I was saying, with AT, I don't think that this is going to affect any other black coaches out there. I don't think so. But at the same time, we also need folks to stop talking like this as well.
Amen.
Move forward. We got to stop this. I overheard it the other day. Well, it was a couple of weeks back, and one of my family members was talking like this, to one of the kids. And I'm like, man, stop that. You think you're helping, but you're not. That type of language doesn't help. It's actually a defeatist mindset.
That's right.
When you talk like that, and when you tell your kids, hey, you got 10 times as hard. Some people don't hear that and say, you know what, I'm up to the challenge. Others say, they hear that. Well, I ain't even gonna say others. Most hear that and say, you know what, I might as well not do anything if I got to work 10 times as hard. Really? And I don't think that is the case. You don't have to. And I don't think that this situation is going to set precedents or set anybody else back. We got to stop talking like that. Seriously. We really do. Whoever wants to go.
Well, let me get some on if you don't mind. First of all, Skip Bayless already has some wild takes, so he has no business coming up there saying anything else beyond that.
Well, Skip didn't add anything. I was just,
I know. I just know. I remember Skip from back in the day. I used to despise the way he would go at certain stuff. I agree with everything y'all are saying. And the gentleman that you showed in the video, one, please don't talk about someone else's wrong while you're actively cursing. Sin is sin. But he's 100% right. You know, when I left the military, and wise, you know how it is. Everyone's green, right? We're all the exact same levels of trash, right? So we never got into. You don't do that in the military. You can try. It's not going to work out that well for you. But sliding in the civilian world, BlackRock was big on DEI. It had just came out. Biden just got into office. Larry Fink had his letter. And so everyone was really focusing on not what do you bring to the table, not your experiences, what's your skin color, what's your sexual orientation, and what's your gender. It was always those three things. And it always graded the wrong way. I would say, please don't ever say I'm the first black anything. Please don't highlight me during a certain month and have me come up here and say, this is what my experience is like being a black employee in the workforce, because all you're doing is reinforcing separation. That's it. And it is what Ryan Clark did. If you bring up, and I love doing the role reversal, it's so much fun how to realize how hateful things are when it's said by someone different. And I love that you went in that direction, because you're right. When you have this brought front and center, that's what causes people to look at that before they hire somebody. The more you talk about it, that's what causes people to think to themselves, well, you know what? I'm going to get this because I'm a certain way, or I'm not going to get this because I look a certain way. And it doesn't require me to look at myself and say, maybe I need to grow a little bit more. Maybe I need to get more qualifications, more experience, whatever it may be. And I'm really getting sick and tired of the racial politics. I truthfully am. What happened to you being a decent individual? No person is good. What happened to you trying your absolute hardest in this life? I feel like we're lying to people. To your point, Wise, I agree. I was raised that way. Civil rights parents love them to death, but there's a lot that came with that. And there was a lot of the white man's going to keep you down. The white man's going to try and take things away from you. You have to work harder than the white man. You're not going to have the same opportunities as the white man. If you live in the wrong area, the white man is going to despise you and try to take your life from you. I've gotten all that stuff before. White folk are this, white folk are that. And I'm grateful I joined the military and got that out of my system, because I know a lot of people that I went to school with. I know a lot of individuals that I've met along the years who still have that ideology and mentality into their 20s and into their 30s. And to your point, Wise, it's what's the point? What's the point? White man's always going to win anyways, right? We can't get a leg up, right? What's the point? I'm going to do the bare minimum to get by. I'm not going to look outside of my own circumstances. And it's been so ingrained that if you say anything otherwise, it's because I'm black.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think about this. And before you go, Celeste, I want to add this real quick. This mindset that we have, it's not helping, it's hurting. But when you look at the demographics of America, we have 340 some odd million people in our nation. Almost 1/3 of those people are immigrant of some sort. From some other country. So this mindset that you got to work 10 times as hard as quote unquote white people or whatever. Do you not understand that America is now the globe? It's the entire world now, and you're competing against everybody at this point. Like, do you not understand that? Like, the competition, I mean, this fixation on white people in America, when you look at what has happened and what has transpired over the previous 4 years, and when you look at, if you go and look at the census and you realize that, hey, we got over 100 million either illegal immigrants or immigrants in general, 100 million. So almost 1/3 of the population. The focus should not be on one specific ethnicity in the nation. The focus should be, hey, I got to compete against everybody because everybody is here. You know what I'm saying? And this mindset that, white folks trying to keep us down. Stop that, man. There are a multitude of people. The Somalis have their own video letting it be known like, hey, we're here to beat your tail. We're here to take your spot. And a multitude of others that have come over here over the previous 4 years and years years before or prior have come over and let it be known like, nah, we're here. And not only are we not coming for, coming for y'all as black folks here in America, but they're also coming to replace white folks as well. They're letting it be known like competition is here. Y'all focused on the wrong things. I just wanted to get that out there because that drives me crazy. I was having this conversation about 2 weeks ago with my little brother because they got this mind. I'm like, bro, y'all don't even understand who your competition is. Your competition's everybody now.
That's right.
Everybody's the competition. And yeah, you need to work. Do you need to work 10 times hard? I don't think so. Because I just don't think most people have a real strong work ethic, regardless of who you are in this nation. I just think you need to work hard. Just work harder than everybody else.
Wise, you're absolutely right, because the thing is, you will compete against everybody else. All the frustration, that anger that you have in you, all that empowerment that people tell you that you should have because of your skin color, nobody cares when it comes down to the beans and bullets. You still gonna have to compete. That's it. You can have the parades, you can have the ideology, and it can honestly maybe make you feel good every once in a while. You're playing a game from a long time ago, and today's environment, to Wise's point, has shifted so dramatically. It's why, I'll tell you the truth, I'm going to say something controversial. I might be upset. It's why I don't refer to people as black and white in the first place. Because when you say someone is white, what are you, German? No, forget about that background. It doesn't matter anymore. You're just white. What are you, Polish? What are you, French? What are you, all the things that people come from. And we start to get away from the fact that black people aren't the only people that came to the United States of America, right? And that's not like everyone else was just here and we were the ones that were forced to come here. There's a lot of persecution that happened to people that you consider to be white, because you just classify them all in that same area. Why can't we just be American and Christian? What's wrong with that? Why can't we just be another fellow human being to go out and try to do great stuff? But instead, yes, of course there's racism. Of course there's prejudice. Of course there's bias that is out there. But when we focus on that and we heighten and elevate it, you're worried that it's absolutely everywhere, and that's what you're always going to see, as opposed to AT needs to do better. AT needs to work more. Both of those are true, right? Now it's, no. Wise just doesn't like AT because he's light-skinned, right? That's what it actually is, right? It's not that I showed up late. It's not that I said something or I talked too long. Nah, right? It's just he's as dark as midnight. He don't like the fact that I'm light, bright, dang near white. And so I take that and walk away, and I have no accountability anymore. I don't grow. I don't get better. I don't look at the hard parts of my my character and personality that's going to allow me to achieve in the future, whatever that may be.
Can I just say, maybe, I feel like Ryan Clark was just trying to signal to the Boule crowd, I'm still with y'all. I'm still rocking with y'all. I feel like that whenever you hear them make those comments, they just want to say, I'm still rocking with y'all. Y'all can still, I'm still with the in crowd, Well, they're in crowd, not the real in crowd. But I think that's what they usually do when they throw those things out there. Because again, this entire conversation is about this man and his lack of integrity. And we need to make a shirt that says "Make Integrity Great Again." I think that's what we need to do. We need to make integrity great again, because that is the key here. That is the problem. He is lacking character. It has nothing to do with black, white, or any of the above. It's about his walk, especially as someone that claimed Christ. You claim Christ, you put it everywhere. And this is how you represent Christ with, and you're right, Wise, and I think it was Wise, and I think Jay, y'all said that probably the whole administration knows. So the whole administration knows that you run around here claiming Christ, but you dipping and dabbling, dipping your ink over here, you're penning that ink, and then removing the excess ink from that pen when there's too much stuff going on. That's what they're seeing. They're not seeing it's nothing about being black, white, none of the above. But it's easy to make this a black thing and a white thing, because that is that cultural mindset. And again, we need to get out of that cultural mindset and get into A, kingdom mindset, B, patriot mindset. And I say patriot because at the end of the day, we're Americans. And as Wise just pointed out, there are people that are coming in here and they're like, we're taking over this land, period, point blank. Even though we're Americans, people are still trying to keep us divided amongst Americans, because when we're divided, we'll be easily taken over. So I really feel people need to remove that language from their vocabulary immediately.
I'm going to just jump in. Crystal, I want you to write down all of your puns and try to make sure they properly segue, because dipping the ink in the pen and then slinging the excess all around, that sounds like we need to charge money for that. I don't know what you're going to do with your segues, but that is not it. Maybe send it to us and we'll write it out a better segue. That's all I'm going to say. Stick with landing my plane. Stick with landing my plane. That one worked out really well for you. Stay there. That's your lane. No ink slinging or anything, or accessing, because I feel like I feel dirty.
You need a shower?
I need to take a shower. I'll be right back.
Make integrity great again. I'll wear the t-shirt.
I like that one. That was good, but the ink, the pen, the slinging.
And the sling, goodness
not
gracious.
Gonna work with that one.
Couple super chats I want to read real quick, and then we'll keep it moving. Shout out to Queen B. been a member for 8 months. Thank you, sister. Appreciate you. Love our wise panel and chat. Y'all make my day. Thank you, Queen Bee. Appreciate you, sister. Shout out to Just a Brown Girl in America. What's going on, Aunt Nikki? Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, good morning. Nice meeting you all Wednesday. Thanks again. Appreciate you pulling up as well. Shout out to, how do you say that? Is that Ardefo? Hopefully I pronounced that properly. Maybe not. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, humble yourself before God does. He's good at embarrassing prideful people. Yeah. Or more or less, they're good at embarrassing their daggone selves, to be honest with you. Shout out to my brother Jeff coming through with the $11 super chat. Says, let's not forget in this trying times and era of turmoil and anguish, go Navy, beat Army. Really? Well, he's old Navy guy, so I can't be mad at him too. I'm not going to be
Nobody's
upset with
perfect.
you too much. Thank you for the super chat. Says the left blames white folks for conflating the country down while hiding the gasoline and lighter behind their back. Huh? And thank you, Jeff, again, coming through with the $11 super chat. Says Prince said it best: black, white, Puerto Rican, everybody just freaking.
Y'all saw what Waj did just now, right? I just want to point it out because I know he tried to smooth right past it. This man said, go Navy, beat Army. He was just like, oh, no, I'm just gonna ignore that. It's not a big deal at all whatsoever. I bet you if he said go Army, beat Navy, you'd have something to say about it.
Well, he said it right. He said it right.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's keep it holy up in here. We don't have to lie about it.
He said it right. He said it right. He said it right.
Y'all please know that if the Army beats Navy this weekend, next week on the show, and Wise doesn't invite me, it's because he knows I'm going to have all my Army memorabilia around and everything. I'm going to wave a little flag and all that. And when the Army doesn't lure in, because unfortunately that tends to be the case every once in a while, I'm not going to be here next week.
Well, they flip flop every week, every year.
I think in the last 10 years, y'all have 6 and we have 4. So
yeah, something like that. They're about flip flop every year. Although I do think the Navy football team is a lot better than than that West team up there. I think they're a lot better this year.
So we're just going to lie in front of God and Christ in the panel today. That's what we're going to do.
That's a lie. I think the record says that.
Y'all have a good one this year. When I was in, the Army never won. I was so furious. And I remember that one time the quarterback cried as if he was not about to be a lieutenant within a few months after that. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's a good game. I have respect for both service academies, Annapolis and West Point.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those in the chat that are asking, am I going to the game? No. But I also don't do outdoor games in the cold, and it's freezing out here. That's a definite no for me. I'll watch it on TV like everybody else. I don't do cold weather games. Not anymore. Not for me. Let's keep it moving. The Supreme Court, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but they are going to hear the case on birthright citizenship. I want to play this. I want to get your thoughts on this particular case here. What do you think should happen? I don't think we'll have a conclusion until this spring, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the spring or summertime frame. I think we'll get some form of conclusion on it. But I want to hear your thoughts on the direction that should actually go with this particular case here. So I want to play this clip and then we'll get into it.
They agreed to hear a case with wide-reaching implications, birthright citizenship. Lower courts had paused a Trump administration policy immediately as unconstitutional. For more, I want to bring in ABC's legal contributor, James Sample. Thank you so much for joining us, James. I knew you'd be back. You'd be back to talk about this. Some had felt that the court would not take this up. Is this an indication that the justices could be seriously thinking about overturning 125 years of legal precedent?
Stephanie, it is a really good question, and the answer is we just don't know. But this is a remarkable moment when you consider that today, when the Supreme Court decided to consider this question, it effectively placed on the docket one of the Constitution's most settled commitments. This has, as you note, been the law for 157 years since the 14th Amendment was adopted in 1868, and it has been, as you note, a matter of settled Supreme Court precedent going all the way back to 1898, the principle known as jus soli, the birthright citizenship, based on the birth within the United States, on the soil of the United States, has been a settled matter and an important part of the American constitutional fabric. Whether the Supreme Court is seriously considering reconsidering that precedent is anyone's guess at this point.
And what are the implications beyond just birthright citizenship?
Well, if you declare an entire group of individuals who are born here and who have grown up here in many instances to not be United States citizens, you're essentially creating hereditary caste systems in which certain individuals will be essentially have no place that they can call home. They were born here as children, they've grown up here as children, and even if the ruling is only prospective, which it really would have to be, you're going to have a whole range of logistical and frankly equal rights questions. You know, when someone is born in a hospital, do you really want the hospital to be focused first and initially on testing the citizenship of the parents in that instance? This is potentially Pandora's box in terms of civil rights in the most severe of ways.
Oh man, I want you guys to hear these stats real quick, and then we'll get into this. AT, we'll start things with you. But I want you guys to hear this. So right now, they're saying that there's an estimated 300,000 children a year that are born in the United States to parents who are here illegally. They're also saying that birth tourism, because we're one of the few countries that actually have this law on their books, birth tourism has exploded into a $2.5 billion global industry. You have a bunch of foreign nationals flying to the United States to secure U.S. passports for their children. And I think you guys know that the United States is one of the only developed countries still offering unconditional birthright citizenship. Now, obviously, I think they talked about this. This is something that's been on the books for 150 years. But is it time to roll that back based off of what you just heard? 100,000 kids born here in the United States of America to parents that are here illegally. Is this something that we should continue to allow? AT, we'll start with you.
When I first met Crystal last year, we had a significant amount of political conversations. And I said this before Trump was, I assumed that he was going to wind up winning, that this was going to most likely be one of the largest Supreme Court cases in his entire presidency, at least for this term. And it might even include his first one as well. When I was listening to what you just shared with us, Wise, the ABC report, it's the bias that is meant to trick Americans that always upsets me. The young lady said overturning 125 years of legal question. Right? That's not true at all whatsoever. And the gentleman kind of hopped on board with that. He said, just soli is what he had mentioned, which means right of the soil, by the way, for those of you who are curious. And in the 14th Amendment, it directly says all persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. The reason why Trump went so hard the way he did is because everyone ignores and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Yes. And that has not been something that is one way or another. It's been exercised as if that means physically here, but it has not been sat down, discussed, and talked about in greater detail beyond three different categories, which are children of foreign diplomats, children of enemy occupiers, and then certain tribal members, of course. Y'all remember that. It's never been talked about as, does that specifically mean moving forward, you are physically present? You come from the Middle East, you have terrorist origins, you have narcos on your back, but you physically made it here and squirted the child out. Is that what it means? I'm curious to see what direction it goes, but to your point, Wise, especially with the lack of patriotism, to Crystal's point, with the lack of understanding of where people are coming from, and with the legal immigration, of course, it's something that should be addressed. Now, I just hope that if this goes through and they say, nope, you have to be American in order to have a child here, I hope it's implemented correctly. Because to his point, we have a lot of individuals that do fall underneath that category. No fault of their own. Their parents came over here, gave birth to them. I doubt they're going to do this and retroactively take that away. I hope that if they wind up passing this and saying, nope, this is what the amendment says, they do it in such a way where individuals, stereotypically who are on the left, don't come up and say, well, this is hateful, this is mean, because I could see this being a riot. I could see this being a protest. I could see people being upset. We know where it usually comes from. But we have forgotten what America is. We've forgotten what pride in our nation is. And the more we let people come in and say, hey, if I just make it here to this land that we think is so great, it must be flowing with milk and honey, and I have a child here, then they'll be set up. but I won't teach them to love the country that I thought was going to be so great for them in the first place. I think it's about time that they've had this. I've been waiting for this. Ever since Trump took office, we knew the federal courts were going to shoot it down because that's what we do, legal warfare against executive branches, and they've been continuing to do this playbook. We're going to find out what happens with the Supreme Court. I think that no matter what they come out with, half of America is going to be upset with it. And this is all the more reason why you should never let a president come in and stack the Supreme Court, which has been talked about a lot from the left, because at the end of the day, barring technically the Congress could come together, if the Supreme Court says something, technically Congress could come together and try to overturn that. I don't think that's ever happened in our entire lifetime. It's extremely rare that that's the case. So this will be one to definitely watch, and hopefully get a chance to talk about it more wise when that time comes up.
Celeste, I'll give you the next word.
Yes, I want to associate myself with the great comments of my colleague AT. He's absolutely right. So the 14th Amendment is a coupling. So it says born on American soil, and so it's linked to, and means both have to be present, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And let's go into that a little further. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof means that you have allegiance to that country. You can come here on Tuesday, have a baby on Wednesday. That doesn't mean that you're a citizen or you have any allegiance to the United States. You are not subject to the United States in the way that a citizen is. So no, you are not also subject to the jurisdiction thereof. In fact, you may be subject of another jurisdiction where you came from. You may be a citizen where you came from. Your allegiance may be where you came from, because you have not gone through any type of process to tell us that you have switched your allegiance and are now subject under our Star-Spangled Banner. That is now what you have an allegiance to. So this idea, and if you notice, they tried to make this a healthcare issue by saying you don't want the doctor to have to start to determine. I guess they feel like healthcare would be the proper way to position this. My answer to that is yes. Once the child is born, I do want the doctor, when they're filling out all the other paperwork, mother's name, father's name, country of origin. I absolutely do want the doctor to do what the doctor already does. So this is not an added burden on the medical staff. And I also wanted to say that I hope, and if anybody remembers Trump's inauguration address in 2016, he was trying to lay out the foundation for what would be in hierarchical class in this country. And I was extremely impressed with that, which was that the caste system in this country would be first and foremost for Americans. When you say America first, what you are actually saying is we do want a caste system which prioritizes Americans first, prioritizes from who? From the government that we pay for, that represents us. Their first priority should be us. And all of their works, efforts, and dealings, we should be the priority of our government. This is not to say the government should ignore everything and everyone else. We certainly have foreign concerns and we have domestic concerns. But the way you frame and the way you understand these foreign concerns and the domestic concerns is what is best for the American first. And once we figure that out, then we can look at everything else. That is a caste hierarchy, and it is certainly one that I embrace.
Jay Witt, you want to get in there?
Yeah, I'm right there. I love how Celeste said it. So all I want to just add is that we need to prioritize the fact that there are things that here in the United States that are just completely out of control, and recognize that though they might be good laws, or though they might be well-intended, they're being applied very badly today. And we're not requiring certain things from our up-and-coming citizens and even our citizens that are keeping America moving in the right direction. I mean, we're not requiring, as you mentioned earlier about Somalis, like that. Why do we even have to tell you that? Like, why is it okay that literally people they're now grandstanding that they're from another country, they're here in this country, and they don't care about this country whatsoever? They only want to basically take advantage of what we have available. Like, come on, like, why do we have to say that? Why does that need to be a federal upheaval? Like, why do we not say, hey, that's not appropriate and that's out of line, and we need to make some moves and changes? Sure, this law that you're utilizing was good back then, but we didn't foresee, or they didn't foresee, people like yourself. We got to make some adjustments. That's what I think. But, dope conversation for sure.
I would agree. Do you think, and Crystal, I want to get you in on this, but this could be for any of you guys if you'd like to answer the question, some form of amnesty for those that have been here in the country for, we'll say, 10 years or more. If you've been in the country 10 years or more, we're going to give those people amnesty. They're here already. Let's just go ahead and start making them pay taxes and go about things in a manner. If you got here during the previous administration, or maybe a little more than that, those people, y'all got to go. And there's some form of concession. Do you think some form of concession will be made for those that have been here for 10, 15, 20 years in comparison to those that just got here over the past 4 years or so? Do you make some type of concession and cut it off and say, you know what, this birthright citizenship, it's not happening anymore? But those of you guys that are here, because like I said earlier, we have 100 million people in our country that are either illegal immigrants or an immigrant in general. And I think the number of illegal immigrants that we have, it's upwards of over 40 to almost 50 million people that are here in our country illegally. And a large majority of them have been here for a long time. Although there's probably 20 or 30 million that just got here within the past 4 years. Y'all can go with it wherever you want to, but do you see some form of concession being made to allow this to happen, shut down birthright citizenship, but give people some form of path to citizenship for those that have been here maybe 10 plus years or so?
I'll go after Crystal.
No, there shouldn't be any amnesty. Or if there is, no. Because let me tell y'all something. There are sleeper cells, okay? And sleeper cells, they have been laying low for 10, 15 years, okay? And this, if we're going back, we're in 2025. So 10 years ago was 2015, which is after the Obama era, where a lot of sleepers decided they were just going to come and hang out in America and lay low. No, because again, if President Trump did not offer your ability to deport yourself back home, and if he never offered that, then you could say, okay, maybe there's some amnesty. But President Trump offered everyone here the right to deport themselves back home and have the ability to come back to America and do it the right way. And as I keep telling people, the people who decided to stay knowing that President Trump gave you that ability, that tells me that you have I don't respect the American law or the president of the United States mindset. Therefore, since you don't respect the rules of this house, no, I can't give you amnesty. You can't come to my house and I give you rules to my house and you don't respect the rules and I'm supposed to give you grace? Absolutely not. You've already shown me who you are. So I'm going to believe you by the way, what you showed me. So no, I don't think they should get any. No, they shouldn't, because you already told me how you roll. And regarding the birthright citizenship, yeah, I really think it should be, because when we think about businesses, and I'm just going on the business side of things, a company starts and they start out with certain SOPs, right? They start this way because the company is about this small, and they're like, okay, you know what? These rules and regulations, these standard operation procedures, they work real well. But as the company grows and more things is happening and all these different things, parts is moving, then they're like, hold on, we need to revisit this and update it according to where we are now. And they keep doing that over and over and over and over again. So when birthright citizenship initially came out, as we all agreed, it was especially for the slaves that were here in America. We are aware of that, right? So if we understand that, and now we are in 2025, and people are using this as anchor baby lifestyle, then no, we need to pause. As you said, a birth tourism and the whole 9 yards. No, because now we're using it And we as Americans are opening up America for all kinds of issues, because now anyone can come in here and drop off a baby, have a baby in the hospital, and then boom, they feel like they have the right to live here. Their child is now an American citizen, and they're not training their children up in a patriot mindset. They are still, you have Ilhan Omar here saying that she's Somalian, and her president saying in his speech that she doesn't care about America. She is Somalian and she stands with Somalia. So when you have people speaking like that, no, you can't just come here and anchor a baby. You can't just drop a baby off and say, you know what, I get to stay because I had a baby here. No, this is why, just like in business, you have to update your SOPs. Yes, the birthright citizenship has to be updated because it is out of whack now. It made sense back then, but we need to update it today.
I like that analogy. The updating of an SOP from a smaller company to a larger company. I think those of us that have worked, in corporate America, you've got a chance to see it. Maybe if you got on early on, you got some RSUs or some stock, restricted stock units, things of that nature. But once the company has grown to, maybe 1,000 employees, we're not offering that anymore. So yeah, I definitely get that. AT, I think you wanted to piggyback, and then Minister Denzel, we'll get you in there next.
I'm gonna try my best to stick with Crystal's SOP analogy. Please don't jump on me. Hear me out on this one. So I think there should be amnesty, and here's the reason why. I don't believe in giving somebody something for free necessarily, unless we're doing that to be charitable. But the problem is, to use the SOP analogy, we have grown so much as a nation from where we used to be at, and we have 50 states. We didn't have that initially when a lot of this was written. We have millions, hundreds of millions of more people than we did then. So we do have to update that. But the problem is, government is so complex, and because our government has remained the same, so let's say they come out and they pass this, and now you need to be an American citizen. Just like with the education system, we can't fix that without fixing the morality of the parents. Just like with the prison overcrowding situation, you can't fix that without fixing the police. I don't think that we can truthfully put a Band-Aid over this if we just say, yep, right here, right now, we're done, because it doesn't allow for true expansion of that new procedure, if you will. What I would personally like to see is, here's the deal. No more, what did you call it? The expression, birth tourism? I'd never heard that before. I'm going to use that from now on. No more birth tourism. But here's the deal. We still have people who don't need ID cards to vote in this country. So yeah, we're going to say that if you've already gotten here and your parents escorted you out and you're here right now, you have grandfather system. We do this all the time in the military. You got X amount of months to get your butt inside of an office, get an ID card. If you are not a citizen, it's fine. We got you, right? We need to track where you're at, where you come from. You should be willing to volunteer this information. What do you have to hide? Right? You're not saying that you're in this nation to try and cause harm. You say you want to be here to be an American. You should have nothing to hide. Let's come through. Let's make sure you understand what it means to be an American. Let's go through that process. Let's make sure we know where you're at. And after those 3 months, once, kind of like what Trump did earlier, once we have given you an opportunity to objectively do the right thing, not supposed to be here, fine. We'll get you tracked so we know where you're coming from. We know what your intentions are. But if you're outside of those 3 months, now we've not completely whiplashed somebody who, while I disagree, has been in this country for decades. It's always been this way because we had the Bidens of the world, the Obamas of the world, who told them directly, it's okay, we can have something for that. Now you have a responsibility to do the right thing. And when you don't, then you cannot complain the National Guard is going door to door. And yes, absolutely. I'd put the National Guard on alert. I put the FBI on alert. I put every state agency on alert. We are starting to grow. We don't just have a new law in the SOP. We're going to enforce it. We're going to do it and have a transitional process here so that it's not an absolute whiplash to the American economy, to the individuals that are here. And you have an obligation as an American citizen to help us with this process. You have an obligation as an American citizen. We still have people who don't need ID cards to vote. I'm going to keep saying that because that's wild and ridiculous to me. We have to fix more than just one thing. If not, it sounds great. We can pat ourselves in the back. We got our victory for the next election cycle, and half the country is happy. But then we're just going to lead to more turmoil. We're not going to have a smooth process, a smooth system. And it's going to be a very critical period because whenever laws change, we're the most vulnerable. It's when we have any kind of advanced change in our government or system, transfer of power, we become vulnerable. So that's why I keep saying, I hope they implement it correctly. Because if the answer is just no, then what is their plan to go find individuals who are in violation of this now new law to deport them? We're already having issues with that right now with ICE and the way the liberals are behaving. I don't love saying, hey, you broke the rules. here's a free pass. That's why I say there has to be some kind of accountability for that. We may not punish you, put you in jail because we just passed this law, but you better bring your butt and show up and do the right thing and be about the red, white, and blue. And if not, have yourself a nice day. We'll send you back to where you came from.
Hey, Minister Dance, I want to get you in there, but I want to add this. I'm with you, AT, on the amnesty aspect of things for those that have been here for a long time, and they can prove that. I still think that they need to go through the naturalization process.
Absolutely.
I still think they should go through all of that. They're here already.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? On the flip side of that, those that just got here, we're going to give you an opportunity, an additional opportunity to self-deport. Y'all got to go.
Yeah.
Y'all got to go. And we got to cut off this birther tourism. I covered a story about 3 or 4 months ago, maybe a little more than that. There was a guy out in California, and this dude was making millions of dollars bringing women over from China, setting them up, you know, in houses. They had a system. They had a system. This dude was making millions of dollars setting women up to be able to come over here
for
and
citizenship?
have their children here. Say it again.
Did he give the women citizenship? Like, was he helping them with the whole process?
No,
or was he just getting here to drop?
Just to make sure that their kid gets that blue passport.
He should go to jail.
That's what this is about. Oh, yeah, he did go to jail. He got arrested. He definitely they like him. I think it was him and his wife that were doing this, but it needs to be done. But Minister Danzel, what are your thoughts?
Oh, what tangle web we weave when we practice to deceive. I tell you, when you start deceiving people by misinterpreting basic, clear teaching in our constitutional laws, our founding documents, the amendments and all, there are liberals in our country who don't love America. They hate America, and they try every way they can to find loopholes, or what are not loopholes. They'll create a loophole by misinterpreting it and then trying to rush people in. This is what having a knowledge of American politics is, American constitutional documents are, the Bill of Rights. This is why Americans have to be well versed on what the founding fathers actually taught and what they actually did. Because when you let liberal politicians take the reign of what the interpretation of our founding documents are, they will do everything they can to undermine those founders' intentions. And that's what we see happening here. The laws made back then were for specific purposes, for specific people, for a specific reason. It did not give an open door for anybody to come over here and pop a baby out and become an American citizen. They know this, but see, it's not being taught in our schools. It's not being taught in our media, on our talk show. So Americans don't know. So we end up fighting for people thinking that's being unloving and uncaring. No, let's start at some point, like Trump is trying to do. And I don't agree on everything he does. But one thing he has to do, he has to shut down the border, and he has to start dealing with these misinterpretations of our laws so that these people don't think they have a right to be here and be called Americans. Now, again, to AT's and others' point, yes, you can't just shut the door because you're going to cause chaos. You have to have an intelligent system set in place to deal with the different aspects of these crazies, because now they're here, and you can't just go buck wild, because now you'll be accused of being crazy and unloving. It's sophisticated. That's what happens when you do something wrong. When you misinterpret the law, and you bring a whole lot of people in here under wrong pretenses. When you give people freedom that they shouldn't have. When you give money they shouldn't have. These are the consequences. Americans are seeing this, but they're not understanding what it's all about. And so they're siding with the liberals and siding with the anti-Americans on trying to cultivate these people in the wrong way. There has to be, as AT said, an intelligent method. Once you set the standard, now you make it clear, no, you're not an American citizen if you just pop the baby out because you came over here. But now we're going to set up a program where you have to go through it if you're here, and some of you have to go. We have to set up, there's some people, I don't care how many babies you popped here. What you're doing is wrong. You got to go, and your babies. But that takes intelligence, and that takes cooperation among people who love America. You can't cooperate with people who don't love America because they ain't gonna want to do it. So this is a whole confusion that's happening right now. And I'm just saying that we as Americans have got to go back to school. And I'm not talking about the public school. Go back to a good Christian, American loving school, sit down, learn the Constitution, learn the Bill of Rights and all of our major documents, understand what's really supposed to happen, and then talk. Don't get out here and run your mouth off, don't know what you're talking about, because that's what's happening now, and that's confusion. The government, the president has to deal with this, and they have to do it the best way they can. I'm sorry. It has to be done.
I would agree with that. We want to keep it moving. Hit the like button for me. For those of you guys that are tuning in to the broadcast, hit the like button for me. I want to play this next clip for you guys. This is a professor, who gets caught on a hidden camera speaking to James O'Keefe. I want to play this for you guys and get your thoughts. We won't spend too much time here, though.
Bunch of stupid white people. Lawrence is his name? Yeah, Lawrence, yeah. Lawrence, what do you think of him? I mean, he's just a sellout. He's like a coon. Clarence Thomas? The biggest coon of them all. What do you think of Candace Owens? Another coon. Have you ever heard of a guy named, no, his name is James O'Keefe. Well, the thing is that I actually am James O'Keefe. Are you really? Yeah. No, you're not. No, I'm not. I'm not James O'Keefe. No, you're not? I am. Really? Yes. And you don't know that.
It's the run for me, though.
You called black people quote coons. Whoa! He's attacking the camera. That's a misdemeanor. You can't. Jonathan Frank.
That has to be AI. There's no way that's real.
No, it's real.
Are you
that
serious?
run, we gotta
Not
go.
AI.
No, bruh. Somebody
Not
drop a
AI.
$50 super chat because we need you to go back and just play the run. I don't actually want to talk about this. I just want to please roll it back. Somebody drop. You know what? Hold on. If
People don't
somebody
run
drops
from
a
the
50,
police as much
I'm
as
going to
he ran
drop
out
a
of that
$50
building.
super
That's
chat.
what-
I got a cue.
Bunch of stupid white people.
Lawrence.
I need somebody
Lawrence
else to
is his
match.
name?
Yeah, Lawrence, yeah.
Lawrence, what do you think of him?
I mean, he's just a sellout. Are you really?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I'm not James O'Keefe.
No, you're not.
I am.
Really?
Yes. And you don't know that.
It's that run. That run is life-giving. Right there. Oh, come on. Cameraman, you had one job. Cameraman, you had one job. Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna extend it. I'm not gonna do a $50 super. I apologize. I'm gonna give out memberships, man, because I think other people need to enjoy that. So I'm dropping the memberships right now. Thank you.
Wow.
That was
Somebody said again.
Y'all want to see it again, y'all?
We don't actually want to talk about it. We just want to watch. We just want to watch it.
Shout out to Jay Witt, man. Appreciate the 20. Appreciate the gifting 20 ARP family members. If you're not one of those, man, show Jay Witt some love, man.
Please, yeah, I just
Oh,
need
my
that again.
goodness. One more time. Okay.
One more time, man. I don't even know what they're talking about.
No, you're not.
I am.
Really?
Yes. And you don't know that.
He's running too, though. James O'Keefe is funny. Boom! Come on!
You called black people quote coons.
Okay, James O'Keefe is running kind of weird too, though. we gotta be equal opportunity offenders here tonight.
Oh,
wow.
man, I don't even know the details of this thing, but I do know one thing. People talk a lot of trash when they think they ain't being, they ain't gonna be blasted. You see, when he found out that he was on blast, what happened? A whole lot of folk are like that. They talk a lot of trash, don't know what they talk about half the time. And that's why I always say we have to stick it to them when they open their mouth and talk stupid, because a lot of these people, they don't know what they're talking about, but they want to feel like they're intelligent. But when you blast them like that, you see what he did? That nigga, he ran him because walking was too slow.
Humpty
He
Dumpty
couldn't take
fell
it.
over. What are you
People
talking about?
don't like to be confronted with truth. And and I'm telling you, brother, we got the gold. We got the goods. We have to start using the goods. And that's not just on the O'Keefe thing there, but anywhere we go at. When you're sitting down in your family, I don't care who it is, uncle, grandpa, Aunt Martha, Uncle Bilbo, I don't care who it is. If they're going to start talk trash to you in front of your face, don't let them get away with it. Let them say, I don't want to be around you. Fine. But if you're going to be around me, you ain't going to talk trash and get away with it. I'm going to nail you every time you say something stupid. I loved it. I loved it, man.
Oh, that was
That'll
These
go
comments
viral.
in these comments in the chat is hilarious. They say his feet left him behind. Like who is that right now?
That ought to go
Y'all have
viral,
me
man.
rolling right now.
I don't even know what we're supposed to be talking
cannot.
about.
All right. So I just have to say, Minister Denzel, you are hitting on all cylinders tonight, from baby popping to Uncle Bilbo. You are killing the game.
This is Jonathan Franklin, adjunct professor at Georgetown University. For those that wanted to know the brother's name.
A professor.
Yeah, that's him on blast.
Yes.
Bless his heart.
Wise,
No
pick it
wonder
up in
he's
there if you don't
friends.
mind, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
go
gonna
for it,
talk
AT.
about this
Go
guy
for it,
at some
brother.
point in time. This one hits home a little bit because you know, I don't know what YouTube is like, but Crystal and I are unfortunately in the dirty TikTok streets. I have been called, and she's heard me being called, and I've heard her being called coon so many times. And it's never bothered me. I'm 6'1". Come on. It's never bothered me. I know you would not say this to my face in person. And we see what happens right here with this. I'm gonna remember this name. Jonathan Franklin, adjunct professor at Georgetown University, who I hope is fired by this point in time. He is teaching your children. He is teaching the second that your kids leave home, that first interaction they have with an adult, as they are now an adult in the adult world. I work with a bunch of stupid white people, is what he said. We've really got to look at the education system. We have to really look at individuals like this, because of course he ran. Now, I didn't expect Joe O'Keefe, whatever his name is, to be, knees to chest, arms pumping for the run going after him. But that is the shame that I'm talking about. A lot of these people who go online, who've gotten used to the anonymity that comes from social media, comes from being online. Now it's starting to bleed into the real world. You can say whatever you want to online, but when this becomes your personality and you start saying this stuff out loud, he could have sat there and continued the conversation. Why didn't you? You believed what you said. You were confident in how you said it. All of a sudden, it's an issue when you get called out for it. I actually would have respected him if he sat down and continued the conversation. Yep, sure is, right? I said he was a coon, absolutely. But when you get up and run, it shows me that somewhere on the inside, you know you're wrong. Somewhere on the inside, you know that what just came out your mouth is not the things that you should be saying. And in that moment, you realize, oh, goodness, he saw it all flash before his eyes. His job, his reputation, his career, and you didn't care about that before you said what you had to say. What happened to us respecting each other, even if we disagree? I'm pretty sure every teacher used to teach that back in the 90s and the 80s, at least for some of y'all older heads. What happened to speak well to individuals? What happened to do unto others as you would have them do unto you? You don't want me to call you the N-word? You don't want me to call you all kinds of racist things? Why are you calling other people coon? Why are you calling people super white people? And I'll end on this. Imagine if Joe O'Keefe was a black dude, he was sitting down with a white guy, and he said, I work with a bunch of stupid black people, right? They're all a whole bunch of crackers this and crackers that. It'd be front page headlines. The hypocrisy has got to stop. We have got to learn how to respect each other and love each other, even if we don't agree with certain things.
I agree with AT. And yes, I've been called bedwench, coon.
Crystal gets it bad, y'all. Crystal gets it real bad.
I've heard
TikTok's rough, on
It's
conservatives, and TikTok's even rougher on black conservatives and
Very
Christians,
much
from
so.
what I've heard as well.
Black conservatives, Christians, and especially when you are not part of the 92% of women. When you are not part of that 92% group, you're going to get it a million times worse, because it's not just that you are conservative. It's not that you are Christian. It's the fact that you are a black woman. You know how we always talk about the how they say things and it's a black man thing. When it comes to to how they speak to black women, and if I say I don't see myself as that, I see myself as a woman of God, an American woman of God, and I say that, oh my goodness, I am everything under the sun, which is atrocious. But the thing is, I agree with AT, because I'm the person, if I'm telling you in your face, if I'm talking about it back here, I'm going to tell you to your face. Like, what you going to do to me? If I'm saying this is exactly how I feel about you. If I say that you a gutter bunny, believe you me, I'm not going to tell people that you're a gutter bunny. You going to know I think you're a gutter bunny, because I'm going to tell you you're a gutter bunny. That you should be consistent across the board. And that's the problem with old boy there. He wasn't consistent across the board. So he had to go sprinting for his life, because all he could see was he was about to lose his entire job, all of his lifestyle. Everyone will see him for what he is. And that's the thing. When people actually have to face what they say, They won't be those keyboard warriors that be running around in these comments, these keyboard warrior trolls. Hey, Ron, nice to see you again. Always in your comments, Ron, nice to see you again. So please understand, you put things out there, especially in this day and age, people can find you, people can connect with you. Don't be that keyboard warrior, that troll, and think that it won't come back and catch you, because exactly what AT says, I don't care if I'm 5'7". Please believe. My Michael stands right behind me. My warriors are all around me. Please believe I am not afraid. So don't do it. Don't try it. I know y'all think y'all can get away with it, but I ain't the one.
Crystal, did you just give a shout out to Ronaldo just now? Your little boo
No.
thing, just like real quick. Did you slide that in there?
That wasn't Rolando. Remember the man that's on? I think he may still be in my chat right now, Mr. Ron, who likes to say black women should shut up and black women should not be reading the
Ron,
Bible.
yeah.
Black women don't know nothing about the Bible, and black women are hateful, and black like but he says he doesn't. He comes in my comments every day.
I still want to chat with that, Ron. I appreciate you mentioning. I remember who you're talking about right now. We can have that conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's hanging out in the comments. Mm-hmm.
These are the people that you
now?
are sending your children to when you send them to these college campuses for that 4, 5, 6 years that they're going to be on that college campus. You know, any man that feels comfortable talking to a stranger, you don't know this individual, you sit down in front of this man, you don't know him from Adam, and come out, the first thing out of your mouth is, I work with a bunch of stupid white people. That's the first thing out your mouth. And then he starts asking you, oh, what do you think about Lawrence from Fox? Oh, coon. What do you think about Clarence Thomas? Super coon. Like, bro, seriously, you don't know these people. You don't know this guy, and you come out here and you feel very comfortable saying something like this. These are the people, and this dude is supposed to be a professor of journalism. He's a journalist professor. It's like, come on, man. People need to understand that these college campuses, I don't know how much Georgetown is, but my assumption is well over $50,000 a year. It's extremely expensive. These are the people that you're paying absorbent amount of money for your children to get an education. And really, they're not being educated. They are being indoctrinated by individuals like this character. And it's sad. I would assume that, maybe he lost his job, but maybe he didn't, because this is, a super liberal PWI. They may say, you know what? Yeah, there are a bunch of stupid, white folks here on this campus.
We are stupid.
They may actually agree with them, in that virtue signaling type of way that they typically do. But Celeste, I want you to get in there. What are your thoughts?
So this is exactly an example of the paper mache liberal elite. So this gentleman, first of all, I want to say thank you to AT and Crystal. Just know you got our back. We got your back. You got any kind of support you need. You have. Don't let them people make you think anything other than what you know to be true. But I thank you for turning the conversation to something a little more serious, because it took everything for me to get out of the laugh from that video. And you all focused on the run. I left the run behind. It was prostrate on the ground that got me. He laid all points wide on the ground. I said, Lord have mercy. He has prostrated himself on the liberal altar and the DC ground. But this is the issue. First of all, even when James O'Keefe identified himself, I don't believe he knew who James O'Keefe was. Nope. I think he somehow figured out, this person is not my friend, I better run. He still didn't know who James O'Keefe was. And this whole point of, I don't think he's in fear of his job. I would love to do a follow-up on this story to find out if there was any kind of consequence, because I don't think Georgetown University is going to have any consequence at all. To be honest, I'd be shocked if anybody in the Georgetown University administration knows who James O'Keefe is. I seriously doubt that. They have no idea who those people are. So I think it's highly possible that this was, our folly, but that this kind of thing, no one in DC would probably see this video or know about this unless maybe the kids on the campus get a hold of it. But I do think you're right in terms of this is the lightweight intelligentsia that you have in front of your children. And if there has ever been an advertisement for why it is not only just against higher education, but the lower schools, elementary and secondary, which are allegedly preparing your children for higher education, if there was ever an advertisement for why you need to take control of your child's mind, develop their intellect, and make them something that can be first useful to themselves and then useful to the society that they live in, which education is for. It should be this man running and lying prostrate in the middle of the street. Why, that is absolutely a complete and utter failure on your part. If you send your children to these people, and this is who they are. This man is not just at Georgetown. He is also in your child's high school. He is also in your child's elementary school. Your child encounters people like this in almost every institution with which they engage. You have got to make, as a parent, your first priority the mind, the safety of the mind. You have to understand the mind. You know, people just don't know enough about enough. The mind is actually an extremely fluid place. That's why it's full of water. Anything can get in it. Anything can get in the mind. You have to think of the mind as a place of extreme vulnerability that has to have armor and safeguard around it, and especially when it's young and not fully developed. You don't just hand over this mind to people who, like I said, pseudo lightweight intellectuals. He was never going to be able to sit there and say, well, the reason why I think Justice Thomas is a coon, or the reason why I think Candace Owens is a coon, or the reason why. He was never going to be able to provide an explanation, which is why he did an about pivot and ran away. It wasn't, I don't even think, fear of his job. He feared, as Minister Denzel tries every week to impress the importance upon us, he feared the question. That's what he feared. He wasn't thinking about a job. He wasn't thinking about anything. When he laid on that ground, bless his flabby heart.
That was the best.
He laid there. He feared the question. And he didn't even know who the man was once he was identified. He just knew that this was a man who might ask him a question. And these fake lightweight liberals, in the face and the light of a question, and God forbid any truth come around, this is how they act. So Minister Denzel, this man has made you a hero. He has made you a prophet. You are absolutely right when you say you better stick it to them every chance they get. Question them. Don't let these things pass. Stop them where they say it, when they break their lips. Be right there ready to come to respectfully confront, because this is what we should expect: a whole lot of running and falling in our future if we're doing the right thing.
Crazy.
Absolutely. A couple super chats I want to read. We'll keep it moving. Shout out to is it Primo? Hopefully I pronounced that properly. With the $5 super chat, says Bruce Lee was the product of his parents' traveling opera. Oh, traveling opera. They went back to British Hong Kong, then returned to finish school in the U.S. Thank you for the $5 super chat. All righty. Let's see here. Shout out to Teddy coming through with the $5 super chat. Says Georgetown is a Catholic religious school. This man is clearly not hiding his alphabet community background. The math ain't mathing. Yeah. Thank you, AT, for the $5 super chat. Says the mind is a very fluid place. That's why it's filled with water. Celeste, author of The Ass Backwards Way to Move Forward. Boom. Boom.
I caught that. It was just so clever. I had to throw it up there. Grammar mistakes and all.
All good. All good. Last clip, and we're going to get up out of here and get you guys out of here. Bill Maher, who this year, man, I got to say it, man, as we get closer and closer towards the end of the year, Bill Maher he's had some very sane takes over the year. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on over there. I really don't. But Bill Maher has said some things that I actually agree with. And historically, he would never say something that I would agree with. But he's been on point this year. And he's been calling out a lot of rules for their foolishness. Anna Kasparian is on his podcast the other day. And he asked her a question flat out. I want you guys to see this. It was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting to say the least. Hit the like button for me. Let's get into this last clip and we'll get up out of here.
In the Middle East. So tomorrow, Anna, you got to go live in the Middle East. Where would you live? You can pick one city, any city. You can, as far away as, say, Pakistan. You could live in Karachi. You could live in Cairo. You could live in Amman, Jordan. You seem to love Lebanon. I mean, Beirut's nice when the bombing's not happening and the assassinations have stopped. Or you could live in Syria. I hear that's wonderful in the summer.
Well, we now have Al-Qaeda terrorists leading Syria.
Or the Houthis, I'm sure, would make room for you.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv, or the West Bank, Ramallah, I think is wonderful for a little, it's in the fall, it gets lovely. Where would you live? What city would you live in?
Well,
where do you think you'd be comfortable in that dress?
I'm sure it would not be comfortable in this dress in any of the various Middle Eastern countries that have been destabilized by
You're not
the United
really,
States.
you're not really blaming it on Whitey.
Listen.
Are you? You're blaming Islam on Whitey?
I'm not blaming Islam on Whitey.
But what you're saying is we destabilized. That's why you can't wear that
dress. Did we not
destabilize?
Wait
a second.
We were funding terrorist organizations in Syria during the Syrian civil war, starting under the Obama administration.
That's why
did that not destabilize Syria?
No, what's destabilized?
There's a literal Al-Qaeda terrorist.
We're talking about your dress.
Oh,
why
it looks good. I know it looks good.
You're saying you can't wear that dress in Syria because of Whitey destabilizing?
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's what it said.
Okay,
okay, great.
But the United States did destabilize various Middle Eastern countries. Are you going to deny that?
And I asked about the dress, and you went right to destabilize. So is that why you couldn't wear that dress? Why couldn't you wear that dress? Why could you walk down?
You want me to talk about jihadism and Islam, but
why won't you?
Listen.
Why won't you?
I mean,
Why?
I don't believe in jihadism, which is why I'm furious that the United States just had a freaking Al-Qaeda terrorist in the White House.
It's not just jihadism that is preventing you from wearing that dress. Are you saying every Muslim is a jihad? I don't think they are.
Bill.
Okay, why can't you wear that dress?
Let's focus for a second.
No, you won't answer this question.
Can I go?
Go for it.
Okay. I like what Bill Maher did there. I think Bill Maher talked too much, though. He should have just said, what Middle Eastern country would you like to move to, and let her stew in that. Because I think he interrupted her too much, and it gave her room to come up with some other stupid answer, like the whole destabilization thing. Because you could see her, finally, as he was listing off countries, she was clicking in her mind, okay, this is how I'm going to go. Because, really, ultimately, if he just said, what Middle Eastern country from here to here would you like to live in? And just let it sit there and just be quiet. I think he would have, and then she would have had to stew in it and he would have thrown out all of these options for her to later on come up with destabilization. I don't think he should have argued with her. He should let her talk and just ask her questions after the fact.
No, I disagree. I disagree on this one. Let me get in here, please. Listen, this is one time he needed to filibuster. So I think it is about she talk a lot. They have their own program. They do all the talking they want to do. That's his show now. And he knew where she was coming from. So now I felt he nailed her. I think he kept going to make sure that she didn't have a chance to say something because he knew what her position was already. I thought that was brilliant. I really don't. I thought it was funny too because you could see her wiggling and squirming. And I was hoping she didn't move her leg and show anything because she wanted to wiggle and squirm in that chair. You could tell the way he was talking to her that he was nailing her on her. Because if you look at some of her videos, she dogs America like crazy. So the point was, listen, if we're so bad, what other country would you like to go to and stay? No, just give us a country. And he kept it going to just let her squirm. I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant.
I can hop in there if you everyone don't mind wise. First of all, that was hilarious. Thank you for putting that, because after all the stuff you put on my heart this morning, Wise, at least you left me with something I can giggle at on the way out the door. I don't know who this young lady is. The only actual answer she could possibly have given is Dubai, UAE, maybe, is the closest you can get for a Western woman, especially going to the Middle East. But she showed her ignorance. And we see this all the time. Most people can't even find the Middle East on the map, y'all. You understand that. Most people don't even know where Syria is at, where Iraq is at, where Iran is at. And so they definitely don't know about the cultures, and they don't understand the customs, and they can't wrap their minds around the fact that, oh, I can't do whatever I want to do in the entire world. They'll kill you. That's what would happen, by the way. Depending on the country she picks, they'll kill you. And the issue is she was so confident in her ignorance. So confident. She clearly has no idea what she's talking about. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? Maybe I need to brush up on the Middle East. It doesn't make me less of a person. It doesn't make me this horrible individual. If anything, it makes me better to say, I don't know. But instead, while Bill Maher was sitting there holding on to that cigar that he absolutely is using for a prop, it wasn't lit. He wasn't going to light it, right? But it's so unfortunate that after that experience, she probably walked away patting herself on the back, right? Oh, Bill's this horrible individual. He's so mean. He was picking on me. And I wonder, did she ever ask herself, maybe I should reel up a little bit more about the Middle East. Maybe I should stop listening to the narrative that America destabilized the Middle East and it's completely their fault that I can't wear a dress over there. That is just factually and historically inaccurate. And I just hope that someone wakes up one day and says, I don't want to be wrong anymore. I'm concerned more about accuracy than I do about winning a conversation.
When he asked her, where in the Middle East can you live or go with that dress on?
Nowhere.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
He could have stopped right there and just said nothing. Right. And it's like, where are you going with this?
I agree. That's
Celeste,
what I meant.
Where are you going with your shoulders out in the Middle East? Like, where are you going?
I personally have a huge issue with travel. I do it. I go, but I'm not in love with going anywhere. So that's not necessarily a question for me. I think the highlight for me was when he said to her, I believe Hezbollah could make room for you. I was like, you are a true comedian. That was slick. Hezbollah could make some room for you. I do think, though, Anna Kasparian is another one. My mom used to say all the time, everybody sounds good when they're the only one talking. And Anna Kasparian is used to talking on the Young Turks in her echo chamber, but and she sounds great, I'm sure. And she sounds highly intelligent. And she sounds like all of her commentary is really smart. As soon as it gets tested, then we can see what it's really worth. And her in that chair with that dress got tested, and we could find out that she failed the test. She absolutely failed the test. And fortunately, it was on display for everyone to see in the Club Random audience. So I'm very happy that it happened. I want more people to have that same type of test, because you cannot understand. We all walk around and say iron sharpens iron. You will never know how logical your arguments are unless they are tested. And unfortunately, the left, which has had this, we don't talk to anyone, we don't debate, we don't, if we don't do anything but speak, and then that's it, we leave. We cannot ever be spoken to. When they have to face a test, they're coming up short. And it is beneficial, because the more that has happened online, the more it has been easier for people to want to leave the left and to question the rhetoric. Part of the reason we're seeing a shift among young people, especially, but others also, we're seeing a shift. Maybe it's not huge yet, but it is significant, of people moving from left towards the right. They may not be Republican, they may not be MAGA, I don't know what they're calling themselves, but what they're saying is, I can tell you what I'm not. I'm no longer over there. I'm no longer on the left. And part of the reason why is, fortunately, and thank God, we have made debate in this culture a blood sport. And people, it's like a cage match. People want to watch it. And what they find is, when they go to watch these matches, the left doesn't have any fighters. They don't have anybody who can stand 10 toes down in the cage and punch their weight. So they're losing on this front. And every time they have to go and leave the Young Turks and their other ideological bubbles, and they have to go out there and test their mettle, they lose.
Yeah. Shout out to DeAndre coming through with this. And I was going to go there and I wanted to highlight this. I don't know if you guys recall, a couple months back, Whoopi Goldberg said that America is as bad as Iran for women, especially Black women.
Seriously?
And this goes back to what we've been talking about on this show for a multitude of weeks, maybe months at this point. This is the ignorance of a lot of Americans, because the average American hasn't left the 10-mile radius of their home, more or less left the state or left the country. For a Whoopi Goldberg to come out and say something along those lines. You've never been to a Middle Eastern nation before. I've been to a few of them. You've never been there. For her to come out and say that, hey, it's just as bad over here for women. Are you kidding me? And that's why Bill Maher called Anna out with that dress. Where are you going? As much as you cape for these people, as much as you cape for their quote unquote life, where are you going looking like that? You wouldn't be able to. Same thing with Ilhan Omar. You wouldn't be able to talk the way that you talk. You wouldn't dress the way that you dress. You wouldn't be in the positions that you're in any of those nations out there. You're afforded the rights that we have in our nation. You don't get those same type of rights everywhere else. Have some respect and some appreciation as well. Crystal, what are your thoughts?
I love what he said, and I agree with you. For this year, he's been coming out with some very great takes, and he's not doing the backpedaling like
Stephen A.
Yeah, he ain't backpedaling.
He stands on his. I'll give it. I haven't heard Bill Maher come out and apologize for anything. Whatever he does say, you don't like it, so what? He just leaves it out there.
It. And wasn't Bill Maher the one who went? Didn't he go and meet with Trump?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that was the turn where he had a chance to sit down and have a conversation with him and see who he was, and not just live in the rhetoric of liberal media. He actually had a chance to have a conversation, and maybe there was a little common sense that sprinkled while he was there. You see, right now, I will say that I thank God for all of the watchmen that he has out there that are speaking. He's using different people in different facets to do that. And I say that when I look at Bill Maher asking Anna Kasparian that question, because the one thing I realize is, especially here in America, people here in America are simping for for the spirit of Islam heavy. They are in love with the spirit of Islam, and they have no idea what they are coming into agreement with. And I appreciate all of those people who came from that faith, because there's a lot of people that have come from that faith and they've come out from that, and they are warning Americans, you have no idea what you're coming into agreement with. You have no idea. You women with your little booty shorts and your crop tops, your hair all out, you think you could get away with that over there? No, you can't. And I love that he asked her that question. And let's be real. If she had to come down, I think somebody said in the chat, she ended up having to eventually say Israel, because Israel is the only place, mind you, America hates Israel. Apparently, all the Americans hate Israel, and they love all the Muslim nations. And they think that they will get the same freedom in America that over there in those Muslim nations. I don't know what book y'all have read. Again, let me say my favorite thing: go outside and touch some grass, because clearly y'all don't know. Y'all need to do some work. Y'all need to do some studying. In fact, get off of these liberal websites and go and actually do some history. Do some history. Go look it up. Go look what these people stand for. Go pick up the Quran. Go read what the Quran says. Not for you to learn their religion, but to actually understand what they're actually saying, how they see all of us as infidels. Like, y'all don't really realize that. And as many times when we have that, I don't know if you saw that on X, any of you, the man who said he is going to be the first trans woman Muslim and put on the hijab.
In what world?
I was like, and he's excited to go over to somewhere in the Middle East to be the first trans woman. And I'm like,
12 hours tops.
They're like, do you understand you're about to be thrown off a building or something? Like, you don't understand that? Like, you don't get that? You don't understand that? But that's how delusional uneducated all these people are. They don't understand culture. They think that they can bring their Americanness everywhere. Especially Mr. Tucker Carlson. If you paying attention, you two go over there to Doha in Qatar. Go ahead and do that. And think you're going to be around here proclaiming your Catholic faith and your Christianity, as you want to call it, over there in Doha, and see how that work out for you. Because people like to think that you could take your Americanness anywhere and it flies. I went over to Turkey. I was in Kusadasi, Turkey, and I had on an outfit. And because I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting off the ship. And they were fine with my outfit. But then they said, would you like to go inside and see what a mosque look like? And I was like, even me knowing the culture, I was like, can I go in there? I was like, there's a slit in my dress. I mean, it was a long dress, but there was a slit in my dress. They're like, it's okay. It's okay. They put the scarf on me and so that I can go inside there. These are the things y'all don't understand. And the only reason why I could get away with that in Kusadasi, Turkey, is because they are more of a, I would say, a more moderate, almost apostate country. So they're not heavily like a lot of these Muslim nations like Syria and all these other places that he mentioned. Please, people, get some education on this. Stop virtue signaling. Stop with the liberal stuff. Go get your education. So because y'all sitting down here trying to welcome in the spirit of Islam, and you listen to people like Danica Spirit and all the rest of them, and then y'all gonna wake up with a burqa and a hijab and wonder why you got to walk around in America when it's 90-something degrees in that burqa and hijab, and y'all gonna be upset, especially y'all women that have so much to say.
I think we need to bring more. I like the modesty aspect of things that I do see, from the women over there. I think we need to definitely bring modesty back, in our nation. Just my opinion. But I know Jay wanted to get in there, and then Minister Dance, I'll give you the last word on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to go with what you said about modesty, we do need to teach modesty. I agree with that. The evil demonic modesty, the false self-righteousness of Islam, that's not what we need. But so I'm going to put that out there. My name is Jason dearwokec@gmail.com, email management. But I do want to just also add that with the influx, if you will, of Islam and Islamic takeovers and whatnot here in the United States, I do think we would do ourselves a great service to actually look at what this is and be honest about it. You look at various communities up north, Dearborn, Michigan. Look at what's happening in Minneapolis. Look at what's trying to happen in Texas. Like, be honest about it and look at it and see, is this really what you want to be a part of? And realize that the secularization, they're not talking about secularized, like they said, Turkey. They're not talking about that. They're talking about definitely a more stricter Islam. And do you really want that when the smoke clears? So those are just my 2 points, and I appreciate it.
Well, there's two sides of Turkey as well. I think people need to understand that you have the Islamic side of Turkey, and then you do have the Christian side of Turkey.
Facts.
Unfortunately, the Christian side of Turkey is extremely secular, and the Islamic side of Turkey is a lot more strict. Minister Danzel, you can get it.
Yeah, 2 things. I wanted to make sure that I pointed this out, that the reason why that brother thought that he can go over to a Muslim country as a transvestite is because he'd been drinking the Kool-Aid that the Muslims teach in this country. They talk about peace, but they fool the people, think that they're peaceful and that they're inclusive, when that's not the fact. So
they
he's
consider them useful idiots.
voices.
Yeah, they're just the useful idiots to help them further their agenda.
There you go.
They're doing takia.
There you go. The second thing, yeah, that's right. The second thing I want to mention is Celeste mentioned about how important it was for us to keep bringing our A game when we're in conversation with these people. She's absolutely right. But we also have to watch out because when they start getting their butts beat too much intellectually in these open forums, what they start doing is they start propping up fake conservatives who are dumb and ignorant and useful idiots. And they'll put them up and debate them and beat them up and make the world think that everybody is like them. You see what I'm saying? Because I've done a lot of debates. I've studied a lot of debates, especially with atheists and evolutionists. And if you don't get the right person debating these people, then they'll put up a mark that's supposed to be one of us, and they'll beat them up publicly and make the public think that we're ignorant. Look at how they beat us up. So we have to be careful when somebody's representing us that claim to be representing us that's not us. We have to shout out and say, no, they're not one of us. That's not the one. No, you want to debate somebody, debate this one. Don't debate that one. So again, that's the tactic they use. They get somebody that they can beat up on, and they call them a conservative, and people will fall for that. We can't let that go over.
Absolutely. Celeste, did you want to get in, or are you?
No, I agree exactly what Minister Farrakhan said. I'm sorry, Minister Denzel said. And I want to say, I was thinking about Islam. So, but I want to say this too. And another issue is when people lose the ability to talk and refuse to reason, there is no other recourse but violence. So always stay respectful, but stay on guard.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. And
Amen.
with that being said, we're going to get ready to get up out of here. I think there was a super chat that came through. Shout out to LJ coming through with the $2 super chat. Says another on point holiday sweater, Minister D. I told you, Minister D, you got the fans out there, Minister Denzel. I'm telling you.
God bless you. God bless you. Y'all
But
pray for me.
appreciate you guys pulling up today. I hope you guys enjoy the weekend. Thank you guys so much for pulling up. I think pretty good show today. Pretty good show today.
Amen.
Hope you guys
Amen.
in the chat enjoyed the show. A little longer than expected. You know, I'm gonna try to tighten these things up. We're gonna get better. We're gonna get better as the days and weeks progress, and especially as we get into the new year. We'll definitely tighten things up and get a little better. For the sake of time, I want to try to keep these things at 2 hours. But I do appreciate you guys. Thank you, Celeste. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Minister Denzel. Shout out to AT and Jay Witt. I know they had to pop off because they're busy. They got lives. They're getting all the money.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yo,
very
I put-
much. Mission
everything.
Forward for coming through with the $2 super chat. Says Merry Christmas. Oh,
Merry
with the
Christmas.
IU. Okay, representing. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Speaking
What
of
was you gonna say,
Christmas, I
Mr.
put a
Denzel?
link in the chat. I put a link in our chat. Speaking of Christmas, I put a link in our chat. One of the Christmas cantatas that we did in our church, and I sang in. So you guys are you're gonna enjoy that. I had a good time. I really had a good time, and you'll enjoy the singing. It's very inspirational, and some of the songs are original, but we had a good time. You guys are gonna have a good Christmas watching it.
Minister,
Yeah.
you
Was
was
this the same thing? I think you said this to me last year. I think I watched it.
Yes,
Mr. Denzel, you
that's
was
right.
jamming.
Yes.
Hey, for those
Yes.
of you guys, I'm gonna put this in the daggone chat. Y'all got to see this. Minister Denzel is a man of many talents. I'm telling you, he was jamming. A man
I
of many
enjoyed it,
talents.
yeah.
I got to throw that in there. Go check it out. It was good. I watched it
Amen.
last year when he sent it out.
Minister, you were sick.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. Yes, yeah.
Hey, man of many talents. You heard me? Man of many talents. You're going to have even more fans once they check this out. Hey, Blues, can you
God
make sure
bless
you try to pin that in there for me?
Amen.
All my Blues, can y'all do that for me so
Amen.
everybody get a chance to, check out Minister Denzel in another avenue out here
Yes.
on the
Amen.
stage,
Don't let us
out there in
find
the
out.
stage. It was awesome, man.
I
Awesome.
love
Honestly, it was really good. I was very impressed.
Amen.
Very impressed.
Thank
You guys,
Thank you
you
so
guys
much.
did a great job. So
Minister,
Amen.
did
and
you
just an
have a
opportunity to see
solo?
Minister Denzel in another light, And he's
Minister,
he's
you had a
sharp.
solo?
He's sharp as attack in that video as well. He's sharp as attack.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Minister, yes, yes,
It was fun. It was fun. God bless y'all. Pray for us, please.
Seriously, go check out the video. It's
Amen.
out there. I put it in the chat. Go check it out. But I do appreciate you guys. Everybody in the chat, enjoy the weekend. Lord willing, we will be back at this thing next week, Monday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, we'll get the crew back up here on Friday. I think that's the 19th, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously we got the late shift on Wednesday. So come hang out and check us out. Then hit the like button on the way out the building. Thank you to everybody that supported the channel via Cash App, or you bought your brother a coffee. Thank you guys, and shout out to everybody that supported the channel this morning via Super Chat, Super Stickers, those that joined the ARP family or gifted an ARP family membership. Thank you guys very much for that as well, for your support as well. Shout out to B. Thank you very much, B, for putting that out there. Y'all go check out brother Minister Denzel. Go check him out over there, man. Doing great work over there. Go check him out. Appreciate you guys. We're going to get up out of here. We'll be back at it next week. Enjoy the weekend. For those of you guys that are dealing with what we're dealing with up here, stay warm. Get you some hot cocoa or something along those lines. Stay warm. For those of you guys like Ro that wanted to flex showing palm trees and sunshine, kick rocks. I'm just playing. I cannot stand this cold weather. It drives me crazy, man. I cannot
What's the
stand it.
temperature, Lance?
I haven't been outside today, but we've been under 20 degrees pretty much all week. It's been freezing cold up here. It's nasty. Yeah, Celeste, don't say anything about where you're at either. We don't want to hear it.
Why? What's with Celeste is warm?
No, this is probably warmer than what we got, here. But I know Atlanta, it's been pretty. And she's a little further south than that. But it's you guys have been pretty brick out there as well. Yeah,
It's
for
about
sure.
to be cold. It's about to be 20 degrees this weekend, they said. So I'm like getting ready.
Yep, stay in the house.
And I can't, because I'm gonna go see the Nutcracker on Sunday. So it's like I can't even stay home because I'm not missing the Nutcracker. So I'm gonna just go out there in that brick cold weather. to watch it.
Oh, I try to stay in the
Bless
house.
the
I try
Lord.
not to go out too much. I mean, I have the dog, so we still got to take him out, just bundle up. But I can't stand the cold weather. It drives me crazy. I can't stand it. And this year it came a little earlier than normal. But
Yeah.
we're gonna get out of here, man. Thank you guys very much. Y'all make sure y'all
God bless
go.
all y'all.
I think a lot of people have already purchased Celeste's book. There's a lot. The sales are starting to tick up. And thank you guys for supporting her in that endeavor. And if you haven't bought the book, if you have not, go get it. And go get another one. It's probably a good stocking stuffer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, good gift.
Share
Good
it with
gift.
somebody else, man.
Yeah.
You know. So we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys on Monday. Y'all take care, man. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.